Traffic, highways 117, 101, moving smooth so far so good right now on the Central Coast. Moderate weather today, mid 60s and lower 70s here on the Central Coast. Partly cloudy overnight, low near 50, and tomorrow like today, partly cloudy, sunny in the afternoon with highs in the mid 60s to mid 70s. A reminder, the following program on KSCO brought to you by people just like you who found their pride in service to their community. Find your pride in lots of good friends by serving your community with your local Lions Club. Find your pride today at go.centralcoastalliance.com. That's go.centralcoastalliance.com. Become a Lion and serve with pride. And Knox Garden Box. Get off the garden and grow your garden anywhere you have a little sunshine. KnoxGardenBox.com and Metro Farm, the PMA Ben Franklin Book of the Year. It's 9:06, time for the food chain with Michael Olson.
Chronic wasting disease is a transmissible brain-wasting spongiform encephalopathy that is spreading throughout the deer and elk population of the West. Some say the best antidote to the debilitating transmissible disease is the wolf. And that leads us to ask, should the strong be freed to eat the weak?
Welcome to the award-winning Food Chain Radio Show with your host, Michael Olson. And now get ready for 1 hour of What's Eating What Radio.
Well, thank you, Will Strickland, and hello out there. You are tuned into the 1101st edition of the Food Chain right here on the GCN Radio Network. Or, hey, perhaps you're among our friends over there in Manila who are tuned in as we stream along on the Food Chain page at metrofarm.com. Well, whoever you are and wherever you are, welcome aboard. I am Michael Olson, your host for this hour of What's Eating What Radio with engineer Jason Strubia on the boards. Jason, how you doing?
Glad to be here.
Question for you.
All right.
Do you think we should feed animals in the winter to help them get through the winter?
I don't see why not. Nothing hurts to give a helping hand once in a while.
Okay. Bella Hedeke, what do you think? Should we feed the animals in winter to help them get through that long, cold period?
You know, I have a feeling there's a story I haven't heard of, but I agree. I think maybe if they need some help during the winter and we want to keep their population numbers up, then we should help.
Good enough. Well, folks, chronic wasting disease is spreading throughout the deer and elk population of the West. Chronic wasting disease is a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy similar to mad cow disease, scrapie, and Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease in that it eats away the brains of the afflicted. Though no human has yet been identified as to having contracted chronic wasting from an animal, the potential to do so has been demonstrated in an in vitro cell-free experiment. Chronic wasting disease is transmitted from one animal to the next via saliva. An afflicted animal chews on grass. The grass then transmits the disease to the next animal. Take a chew. One of the vectors that is said to be spreading chronic wasting disease is the wild elk herd being fed throughout the winter in Wyoming's winter feeding grounds. The claim is that chronic wasting disease spreads rapidly through the closely confined feeding areas, much like a norovirus does in a cruise ship. Boom, everybody has norovirus. In spring, the elk move out to the surrounding countryside, taking with them the chronic wasting disease, and that, it is said, is certainly one of the ways chronic wasting disease is getting around. Question, can chronic wasting disease be managed, or will it grow into a catastrophe, as did mad cow disease in the UK? Bella here is too young to remember mad cow disease. How about you, Jason? Do you remember mad cow disease?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
That was a scary one.
Okay. Well, Mark Cook, who is president of Wolves of the Rockies, claims that wolves are the perfect means to control the spread of chronic wasting disease among elk, deer, and moose. And he says it doesn't cost anything. This assertion leads us to ask, should wolves be freed to eat the weak and diseased? Or should the weak and diseased be protected from hungry wolves? So let's ask Mark Cook, who is president of the Wolves of the Rockies. Mark, welcome to the Food Chain Radio Show.
Welcome, Mike, and to all your listeners. Good morning.
You know,
It's a great. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I just have to ask before we take another step here. What's it like to be president of Wolves?
In Montana, it can be contentious at times. It's getting better now, but for a while there, it was very, very contentious.
I would suspect so, being a native Montanan and well aware of the conflict up there. I guess wolves in Montana are kind of like President Trump is. You either really love him or you really hate him, right?
Yeah, it's getting better. That's our mission. To
Okay,
make
good.
people more tolerant.
Well, good. You're up there in the Bitterroot Valley, western Montana.
Yes, sir.
Are you a native Montanan?
No, I'm actually from the East Coast. I went in the military. After I got out of the military, I love wildlife. I love horseback riding, so Montana was the best fit.
There you go. Well, I have to ask again, do you think you would be president of Wolves of the Rockies were you a native Montanan?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, there needs to be a balance. And for the longest time, it swayed in one direction. It was wolves were getting taken advantage of by the livestock industry and by the hunting industry in form of like the local or national hunting organizations. They never had a voice. And they do play an important role in an ecosystem, and that wasn't being heard.
And you've been working with the Wolves of the Rockies for how long?
Oh, gosh, 5 years now.
5 years now. Because there was a tremendous conflict with respect to, the natives of the Rocky Mountain West, the farmers, the ranchers, the hunters, the fishermen. When the wolves were reintroduced, it wasn't exactly, like they were welcomed, were they?
No. I think a lot of the problem was it's not so much the wolves is how they were reintroduced. I think if they were protected under the ESA, the Endangered Species Act, and let instead of a reintroduction, if they were let to migrate out of Canada through the corridor, the Glacier National Park corridor, it would have taken longer to get them on the ground here. But I think people would have eased into it, and the wildlife would have made adjustments in their behavior more timely.
Yeah. Well, I remember the reintroduction because I've been covering the story for quite a while. And my first story about the reintroduction of wolves was a kitchen table remote from a sheep rancher near Big Timber, Montana, which is right in the lee of Yellowstone Park. And so we were sitting there at the breakfast table in his kitchen and talking about what his experience, of course, and his experience was the fact that the wolves would come down and eat his sheep, and there wasn't much he could do about it other than fill out some papers and get a reimbursement.
Right.
And so halfway through this program, this live program, the back door to the kitchen swung open, and in comes the biologist who was responsible for reintroducing the wolves to Yellowstone. He had a tracking antenna in his hand, and he looked at the rancher and he said, "She's back," which of course meant that the she-wolf was back to eat more sheep. But as long as he was standing there, I said, "Excuse me, would you sit down and talk to us?" And my question to him was, "Why did you reintroduce wolves to Yellowstone Park?" And I said, "Was it because you want to control the population of cervids, of deer and elk?" And he said, No. We're reintroducing them because city people want them back." How would you respond to that?
Interesting. Well, I can't speak for that individual, and I wasn't there, but I will say this. There is no doubt that the numbers of elk in the park, in the Yellowstone National Park, were artificially high, and this was causing browsing problems, grazing problems in the park for, riverbanks, those type of things.
Right.
And it echoes out as far as the bison. I mean, you have the elk eating the grass, competing for grass, that the bison need also. So, keep in mind, you're going to hear this argument a lot. The greater Yellowstone herd was 20,000 elk, or I've heard different numbers, but I'm going to run with 20,000 elk. And now they're down to a healthy, sustainable number of about 6,000 elk. And you're going to hear the argument made that the wolves are killing all these elk. But what they're not telling you is in the winter of 1996, we had a really bad winter, and we lost over 9,000 elk just to the winter. Now, you got to keep in mind that had the elk been I guess, healthy to begin with. They might have survived that winter, and because they weren't healthy, we lost 9,000 elk. So it sounds on the surface that elk are being killed by the wolves, but in fact, winter has killed a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me go back to that original question, though. Do city people want the wolves back?
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
I mean, who?
It's
If
not
you
just city people, though.
Yeah, if you think about the people who line the roads through the Lamar River Valley and Yellowstone Park,
Sure.
they come from all over the world to
Right.
look at the wolves.
Right. Now, do you think that's a bad thing?
No, I don't think I'm just a storyteller. You know, I'm fascinated by both sides of this story.
Sure.
Because both sides of the story have a great story to tell, and it's kind of a head scratcher. But your notion that we can control this chronic wasting disease with wolves is really quite a stopper. And so we're going to have to take a break here in a moment. But when we come back, I'd like to address that and the chronic wasting disease that is working its way throughout the Intermountain West. And, you know, that's a head scratcher as well. So this is the Food Chain Radio Program. Michael Olson, it's the 1101st edition of the Food Chain. Today we're taking on a real interesting subject, the chronic wasting disease, which is a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy that's working its way through the cervid population of the Intermountain West, actually throughout the west of the United States. 32 states, I believe it's in now. What can be done to control it? Well, Mark Cook says we can control it with wild wolves. Do stay tuned. This is the Food Chain Radio Program. We will be right back.
You can dream it, build it, own it, Metro Farm it. You can sow it, feed it, grow it, Metro Farm it. You can harvest it and dry it. You can sell it. Metro Farm it.
Learn how to dream it, build it, sow it, seed it, grow it, harvest it, sell it. Metro Farm it. Yes, you can do it. Dream it, build it, earn it, own it. Metro Farm it.
Oh, learn it, do it, earn it. Metro Farm it. Dream it, build it, own it. It's easy, you can do it. Metro Farm it.
It's all in Metro Farm, the guide to growing for the city. Get your copy today at metrofarm.com.
It's easy, you can do it. Metro Farm it.
Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. That's why Dignity Health Dominican Hospital and Dignity Health Medical Group Dominican work with you to make personal choices regarding your health. It's the type of care we can offer because we're more than just a hospital and medical group. We're part of this community. Visit DominicanHospital.org to find a doctor and start living healthy today. Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
The original Stagnaro family has been in business since 1879. The Stagnaro name stands for quality, quantity, and great service. The family's Gilda's restaurant on the Santa Cruz Municipal Wharf is still the fishing headquarters of the Santa Cruz area. It's where fishermen gather each morning for coffee and breakfast before heading out on the bay. Stop by Gilda's and say hi. Dino looks forward to meeting you at Gilda's on the center of the Santa Cruz Municipal Wharf.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going to Santa Cruz Electronics, where they get all the electronic information and equipment they need to fix electronic gear themselves and save money. Hello, Charlie Friedman here. Listen to the things your friends and neighbors are fixing themselves with the help of Santa Cruz Electronics.
Solar energy kits for school science project.
Musical Tesla coil.
Video output for my home media center.
Building a new server for doctor's office.
Repairing a student radio station.
More RAM and a sound card.
DSL line.
Network printing, scanning, and faxing for dentists.
Wireless network for court reporter agency.
Diagnosing sound card problem.
Ham radio antenna.
If electricity flows through it, you can probably fix it yourself and save a lot of money with the help of the experts at Santa Cruz Electronics. Voted Best Electronics Store 2 years running. Call Santa Cruz Electronics today at 831-479-5444. That's 479-5444. Or visit at 2808 SoCal Avenue in Santa Cruz. Fix it yourself and save money with the help of Santa Cruz Electronics.
And now, back to What's Eating What on the Food Chain with Michael Olson.
Folks, it is a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy, which is kind of like mad cow disease. Remember the mad cow disaster? Oh my goodness, it was found in the beef of the United Kingdom. They had to kill so many of the cattle. The people caught the disease from the cattle. 117 people died. Bad stuff. It eats away at your brain. Well, fortunately, nobody has yet to be identified as having contracted chronic wasting disease from deer or elk. But in lab tests, they have proven it possible to do so. So this disease is now spreading throughout 23 states of the western United States. And it is just moving in the populations of wild animals. So one of the possible vectors of this is the elk herd of Wyoming, which is being fed all winter long. And the elk transmit the disease via saliva. So an elk chews on a piece of grass. The grass carries the disease to the next animal that chews on the grass. So that's the situation. We have a very tough disease spreading throughout the United States. How can we control it? So Mark Cook, president of Wolves of the Rockies, what led you to throw out your notion that they can be controlled by wolves?
That's a good question. Okay, there's an individual named Valerie Geist, and Geist is an opponent to having wolves. So my thought is this: if this individual is willing to come out and say wolves will certainly bring the disease to a halt. Now, here's a guy that doesn't like wolves to begin with. Now, if he will say something like that, and he is, anti-wolf, it has some merit, because not only is he a doctor, a smart guy, done a lot of wolf research. It sparked my imagination to start digging further into this. Mm-hmm. There's a few studies out that indicate that, like you said, chronic wasting disease is coming, and there's a thought from an individual that says, because wolves were eradicated to begin with, this is where they got their foothold, the chronic wasting disease in with the ungulates. The elk and the deer.
As a quick aside, what happens to the ungulates when they get chronic wasting disease is that they become weak and feeble. Right. And if you're a grazer, an ungulate, and you're weak and diseased, you're going to be in trouble.
Absolutely. There's less vigilance, and you're right. You're absolutely right. They're more concerned about eating than they are about being eaten. Mm-hmm. So it's only a natural fit that, for part of the reason, as I stated earlier, that because wolves were eradicated, that's what gave this chronic wasting disease a foothold in with these animals. So why wouldn't it be a natural fit, both financially and for the wolves, to be allowed to do what they do best? And that is, it's not that they can't take down strong prey, healthy prey, but it's a dangerous business. So why wouldn't they be allowed to kill weaker animals, and in doing so, strengthening the pack or the herd?
Now, all clever predators pick on the weak, right?
Yeah, kinda.
I mean, if you're if you're a clever predator and planning on surviving, you look for the weak, and that's what you go after. And chronic wasting disease, of course, makes strong animals weak, and therefore a good target. Going back to the disease, it started in 1967 in northern Colorado, now in 23 different states, but not in Montana. How on earth does Montana keep chronic wasting disease out of the state?
Well, Montana's got its own problem with brucellosis.
Brucellosis.
So that's another can of worms, so to speak. But I guess, how are they keeping it out? It's a good question. It just has. I think it's a matter of time. But I think we can either, we can stop it or slow it down if we allow nature to take its course.
If you look at a map of the spread, you see that chronic wasting disease is almost filling up Wyoming and Colorado. And it goes right up to the border of Montana, and it stops. And I look at that and go, how on earth do you keep wild animals from walking across the state line?
Yeah, you don't. You just don't. And I mean, Idaho doesn't have it either, I believe.
Idaho does not have it either? Huh.
I don't believe so. So it's made its way to South Dakota, North Dakota, and it's into Wyoming. So why it hasn't come to Montana yet, I just can't fathom a clue. I just don't have a guess at it. But the point is, if we have a natural predator that works 24/7, doesn't cost us anything. I mean, you're going to get the argument of depredation with cattle. There's 2.5 million cattle in Montana. We've lost 50 cows last year. Now, I understand that there's financial loss there, but it is reimbursed through the livestock loss program. So my point is this. If you have a critter that's willing to do this job and it doesn't cost us anything, why aren't we letting him do it?
Well, is there any alternative? Has anybody, said, well, yeah, that's a very mean way of controlling a disease, but is there an alternative to wolves? Or what happened? I guess the flip side of the question is, if we do not allow wolves, if we do not free the wolves to eat the weak and diseased, then what?
Good question. Here's the thing. Tourism is. Let me go back to tourism. We were talking about Yellowstone. Tourism brings a lot of money to Montana. It's the second largest producer of revenue for Montana, next to livestock producing. Now, Wisconsin spent $27 million to kill off their whitetail deer herds because of chronic wasting disease.
That was Wisconsin?
Montana, yeah, Wisconsin. They spent $27 million. So my argument is this. Montana can't afford to kill off their elk herds. Tourism and hunting is too large of an industry and would devastate Montana if people didn't come here to either hunt, fish, photography. Most people come here to visit Yellowstone National Park. So it's a huge source of revenue, and to kill off a herd would be expensive to begin with, or to kill off the elk would be expensive to begin with, and I'm opposed to it. But think about this, $27 million is what it costs to do that, where wolves will do it for nothing.
Yeah. So Wisconsin was faced, why did they kill off all the white-tailed deer? Why didn't they just let the deer run wild?
I don't know why they made the management decision that they did, but they spent $27 million to kill these white-tailed deer off.
Wow.
I wasn't involved in the decision process on that, but just think about that. That's a lot of money, and for Montana, most people come here to hunt, fish, to see the outdoors, photography. We can't afford to take a hit like that.
Well, what it does indicate, certainly, is the fact that Wisconsin thought enough of the problem to spend $27 million to do something about it.
Sure.
So that would be the alternative then, is to, it does not appear it to be an alternative to do nothing. Otherwise, Wisconsin would have done nothing.
Right.
But instead, they spent $27 million to do something, which was to kill off the entire herd.
Right. It's tragic.
So, okay, folks.
You have to take into... Oh, go ahead.
Well, this is a Food Chain Radio program, Michael Olds. We're going to take a quick break right now. Question of the day. Should wolves be freed to eat the weak and diseased, or should the weak and diseased be protected from hungry wolves? And if we do free the wolves, what will that mean to people walking out in the countryside? Oh, my goodness. And if we don't, what will that mean for all of the populations of cervids, of ungulates, of deer and elk and moose? What will happen to them? 831-479-1080, right back.
Hello, everybody. So glad to see you.
Hello, everybody. We're so glad to see you.
Hello, parents. Here's an invitation to make a big difference in your young child's growth and brain development at Music Together with Musical Me.
And Music Together with Musical Me will bring joyous, interactive, developmentally rich, and fun music making into the life of your entire family.
Musical Me offers music together throughout Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, and Monterey counties. Enroll your child 6 and under today and bring joy into everybody's life.
For information and locations, visit musicalme.com. musicalme.com.
Hello, everybody. So glad to see you. Hello, everybody. We're so glad to see you.
Is your internet connection slow? Etheric Networks can help you. Etheric Networks is the Bay Area's locally owned alternative to DSL satellite and cable. We do a few things to make our service better. We have a great reputation, and our staff is committed to providing a great user experience. We listen to our customers and listen to our staff. We pay living wages. Our staff are local Bay Area engineers and professionals. We provide flexibility and personalized service. Being in Silicon Valley, we have direct contact with the networking software and hardware companies and can bring new technologies to market before the cable and phone companies. We operate a tower-based fixed wireless network as well as a fiber optic backbone network that rings the Bay. The combination creates an ultra-reliable high-capacity network that you ought to try. KSCO Business Special. Business service up to 10 megabits per second symmetric for as little as $299 a month with a $399 installation fee. Etheric Networks. Call 650-399-4200. Etheric.net.
Does your business do shipping and receiving? Or maybe you're packing up to move across town? Coast Paper and Supply meets all your needs at affordable prices. We have boxes of all shapes and sizes, as well as a variety of packing tape and tape guns. For your fragile items, we carry bubble wrap, shipping peanuts, and Astrofoam. Shipping in bulk, we carry pallets and pallet wrap. You can find Coast Paper and Supply at 151 Josephine Street or at coastpapersupplyinc.com. You can also call us at 831-423-3350.
Saturday evening, 8 till 9, it's a question of balance with me, Ruth Copland. I ask, is the truth necessary to a successful society? Fake news, the veracity of the media, disingenuous politicians, extreme advertising, tabloid magazines. The truth seems under assault. What would it be like if no one expected the truth in their everyday lives? Is the truth necessary to a successful society? Join me Saturday, 8 to 9 p.m. Decide what you think.
Let's go back for more of What's Eating What on the Food Chain with Michael Olson.
Well, let's go back a little bit. Long time ago, Matt, maybe 10 years ago, my wife and I and my brother-in-law went for a hike through Yellowstone's Lamar River Valley in springtime. And we were heading up to Jade Peak, and we walked through the Lamar River Valley and ran into a nursery of elk. I mean, there must have been thousands of them. And as we walked through them towards the mountain trail, they had conversations about us. They talked about us as we walked through them. And there were cows that were tending the young, and the cows would talk with each other, and like, here comes these crazy people, and they're walking right amongst us. But I'm thinking they're not like that anymore. They must be a lot more frightened now, because that valley, the Lamar Valley, is home to wolves. Must be different, Mark.
No, you're absolutely right. You have the Lamar Canyon Pack at one end. You have the Slough Creek Pack, and you have the canyons that come over, the Junction View Pack. There's quite a few wolf packs in that area. Mm-hmm. I think the park currently has around 9 or 10 packs, and they're ranging around altogether total around 100 wolves.
Well, now, I'm wondering if those wolves, the only predator I think that was really active back in those days, maybe coyotes as well, but grizzly bears, the bears, would come down and find the baby elk and eat them, if they could.
Sure.
But now, a lot more, pressure on the elk because of those wolves. I'm wondering, in looking at the spread of chronic wasting disease throughout the Intermountain West, you see it going right up to the border of Montana, and it ends there. And there have been no chronic wasting disease cases found in Montana. I'm wondering if the wolves that are in Yellowstone are not part of the reason that it isn't making it into Montana.
Mike, I think you're absolutely right. And I think it applies to the entire border. Although eastern Montana isn't great wolf country, the Northwest is better. I can't find an argument to oppose your thinking, is what I'm saying.
Okay, Bill, now it's time for your question.
Hi, Mark. So I've been listening to you guys, kind of a layperson in this topic. But you guys keep saying that the wolves are being contained and that you need to free them. How are they being contained? How are they being contained, in a sense?
Mark?
Good question. I think the only way they can be contained is their natural territory. And let's face it, the biggest factor for wolves moving is for mating, finding a spouse, so to speak, and prey base. So if the prey base, and that's part of the problem on the eastern side of Montana, the prey base isn't there. They need that not lumber, but tree base, the evergreens. So I would suspect that the reason that they haven't made it to the eastern Montana border in any large numbers is because the prey just isn't there and the terrain is different.
Well, the wolves have made it throughout the West now. They're even in. I understand there's even a wolf or a pair of wolves in Northern California.
Sure, yeah. California is on the brink of having more and more wolves, which is a good thing. It's a positive. I think people have a tendency to overreact. And let's be honest, in Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, there's a strong, and it's going to sound different, but there's a strong resentment for federal government. So whenever the federal government comes here, for example, the wolf reintroduction, let's face it, most of the people didn't want wolves to be reintroduced into Yellowstone, but it went ahead anyways. This left a bad taste in the local state population for the federal government.
Mm-hmm. What are they afraid of?
Good question. It's just going to sound sarcastic, but it's not meant to be. There's a strong spirit here of the West that don't tell me what to do. But it's interesting when there is a subsidy to be handed out by the federal government. They sure like the federal government then.
Well, I guess I was raised in that neck of the woods and so know the sentiment pretty well. My father-in-law tells a story of his grandparents who came down from Canada and built themselves a little sod hut in eastern Montana and got some horses and they were trying to make it as homesteaders there. Sure. And one night the wolves came and chased the horses away, and the horses ran back to where they came from, which is 100 miles away. So the grandfather hiked back 100 miles to get his horses because horses were that precious, leaving grandmother home alone. And at night, he tells the story of the wolves surrounding that house, which had no windows and it had really no door. And all she had to protect herself was a frying pan to make noise with. And so she was there alone in a little sod house surrounded by wolves. And, I think there's still an element of that fear in those who live, out in the sticks, that you could be walking along a road some night and all of a sudden there are wolves.
Right. I agree, Mike. I choose to live on the threshold of the national forest.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a couple horses. I have other critters that hang around the house. But my thought is this: if a mountain lion comes through my yard, or if a grizzly bear comes through my yard, or if a wolf comes through my yard, which does happen, if I didn't want to see these animals, or if I was afraid of these animals, why would I move to where I moved? So if you're uncomfortable living in an environment where there is wildlife, that you are no longer the apex predator, so to speak, then why did you move to where you moved?
Mm-hmm. Or that's where you were raised. That's where you came from.
Sure.
Yeah. And so you're kind of stuck with that notion, that I remember in the Paradise Valley one evening, we were staying with some friends, and they said, "Oh yeah, there's wolves here. If you want to hear them, just go up, park on the road there, and take yourself a glass of wine, and you'll hear the wolves come out at night." And when they came out at night, they howled, and they were like a bunch of raucous teenagers, Oh, and the cattle down in the valley started crying out in fear.
Sure.
And because they knew the bad boys were on the road. Folks, this is the Food Chain Radio program. We're taking on a very interesting subject, the chronic wasting disease that's spreading throughout the surveyed population of the western United States, 23 states. People have not been identified as having contracted chronic wasting disease, but it is a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy, which means it transmits from one animal to the next, and it is transmitted rapidly throughout the United States. Should we use wolves, free them to go eat those diseased animals? What do you think? 831-479-1080.
Hi, folks. How many of you out there love to garden? Wouldn't it be nice to grow some of your own food? Or maybe a flower garden would brighten your day. Well, now you can have the pleasures of gardening without all that effort. You don't need a tractor. You don't need a rototiller. All you need is the Knox Garden Box, a heavily constructed, portable, elevated garden on legs that can virtually change the way you've gardened in the past. The Knox Garden Box can be set up anywhere. Yes, you can place it right on concrete. For those with bad backs, you've got critters and gophers, no space or maybe no dirt. With the Knox Garden Box, the therapy of garden is now the prescription for good mental health. The way to find your fabulous Knox Garden Box is by logging on to knoxgardenbox.com. That's KNOX, gardenbox.com. Or by calling 831-461-9430.
We're on the farm with Joel Salatin.
Would you like to buy homemade soup, backyard chicken, and the neighbor's artisanal lunch meat? The Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund protects your right to acquire the food of your choice from the source of your choice. I'm Joel Salatin from Polyface Farm, and I urge you to defend the right of neighbors to engage in direct food commerce. Join today at farmtoconsumer.org, the food of your choice from the source of your choice. That's farmtoconsumer.org. Farmtoconsumer.org. Thank you.
When you buy local American-grown flowers, flowers will grow and flourish in America. Hello, I'm Deborah Prinzing, author of Slow Flowers for certified American-grown flowers. When you buy local flowers, you're helping our country's family farms reduce the transportation footprint of flowers and enjoy fresher, longer-lasting bouquets. So please, next time you shop for flowers, think local. Think certified American-grown flowers. Visit AmericanGrownFlowers.org to learn more.
History buffs. This tale from Michael Olson's Tales from a Tin Can took place while the USS Dale steamed through the Bering Sea, January 1943.
We took some terrible waves up there. One time a big groundswell rolled us over so far I thought we'd never make it back. I was on the lee deck when the ship went over into that roll. Luckily, I was able to grab onto a bulkhead handrail, and when the Dale went over, my feet left the deck. I hung there with nothing between my feet and the ocean but air. I was scared. She went over on her beam, paused for a minute, then she shuddered and shook because one of her propellers was out of the water and thrashing air. Slowly, very slowly, she rolled back toward the vertical, and my feet found the deck again. That wave scared the devil out of me.
Tales from a Tin Can contains 424 tales by 44 sailors aboard the USS Dale from Pearl Harbor to Tokyo Bay. Order your Father's Day copy at talesfromatincan.com. That's talesfromatincan.com. talesfromatincan.com.
And now, more of What's Eating What on the Food Chain with Michael Olson.
What do you think about that, folks? Should we free wolves to eat the weak and diseased cervids, the deer, elk, moose? And what better way to do it? But if we do, how exactly do we free the wolves to do the job, Mark?
That's a good question. It comes down to social tolerance. I believe that, let's be frank, most wildlife will die a violent death regardless. So to say that it's going to die a violent death because of wolves, that's what nature does. I just think we need to be cautious. If there is room for these wolves to disperse and expand their packs, we need to allow them to do it without being harassed too much. We have an incredibly long hunting season. They're allowed to be trapped. Each individual can kill up to 5 wolves. I think we need to dial it back a little bit and, learn as we go. I don't think there's any silver bullet here, so to speak, to beat this chronic wasting disease back. Mm-hmm. But make no mistake about this.
So the way to do it is to allow them to do it.
Absolutely.
So
and
that's how you...
If they run into problems with cattle, there's things we can do. I hate to see wolves killed. I'm against wolves being killed for doing what they do, but we still have some terrain where we can work these wolves. My hat is off to some of the livestock producers in Montana. They're starting to get involved with non-lethal measures. These non-lethal measures will stop wolves from depredating or discourage wolves from depredating on their cattle and their other livestock. Mm-hmm. When we do this, it applies the right stimulus to the wolf to go out and kill what it should be killing, deer, elk, and other wildlife.
And non-lethal means you mean big dogs?
It can be dogs, it can be flattery, it can be radio collars. There's a great program in the Blackfoot called the Blackfoot Challenge that they use high-tech stuff to let each other neighbor know if there's wolves or grizzly bears on their property. We can do this. We just have to want to do it.
And there it is. Well, what do you think, folks? 831-479-1080. Should we free the wolves to take care of the chronic wasting disease? Dee Dee, welcome to the food chain.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Mark, I'm fascinated you're on this program this morning. It's interesting timing. My husband and I just bought a home in Teton Valley, Idaho. We have a pretty good population of wolves surrounding the valley, but they typically don't come down there. Although they're starving this year, so they are coming down through the timberline, and they're eating people's dogs and, chickens and that kind of stuff. For a year now, we bought the house last year. The communities out there are polarized over the wolves. You must know that. I'm stunned. Yet people are really being on their best behavior, even though they lose. They'll lose a couple of head of sheep in one night, and the wolves will kill their Great Pyrenees. They'll kill the Great Pyrenees first, and then they'll go after the sheep. And most of those sheep are dying because they're so scared they're trampling and suffocating each other, and then the wolves will maybe eat one or two of them. In all of Idaho, for example, in more of the timber towns, they've stopped even letting their kids stay at more of the isolated bus stops. And of course, we've got a timber wolf. We don't have the Rocky Mountain wolf, which was pretty typical long ago in the lower 48. In my estimation, I can't understand why, in God's name, the Fish and Wildlife Service introduced an eating machine like the timber wolf. They run in packs of up to 24. They're hungry all the time. They have a great, amazing hierarchy, and all they're doing is looking to eat. And so genetically, I don't know why they've done this. It's a little startling that they didn't pay attention more to the Rocky Mountain variety and try to introduce them back and be patient with that introduction. You can
that's an excellent comment, Dee Dee. I saw a wolf pelt measured 7 foot 1 inch from the nose to the end of the tail. 7 feet 1 inch. Mark?
Well, they do get big. But I will say this: the average wolf in Montana weighs around 100 pounds. I know they did dart a wolf in Yellowstone National Park. It weighed 141 pounds, and that pack had a tendency to be larger because they preyed on bison.
Oh.
It just naturally it got bigger. So it needed to be bigger to survive. But there's a lot of talk about this wolf coming from Canada, and yes, they did come from Canada, but the research was done by the individuals like Carter Neumeier and Doug Smith, Mike Phillips. All these guys did a lot of homework on getting the best possible wolf as close to we could to reintroduce into the park. Wolves are wolves. Yes, some packs do get large, but the average pack where I live is 5 wolves to a pack. If the prey base is there, go ahead.
What do you say to Dee Dee's comment that people are afraid to leave their children alone at bus stops?
Well, history will show you that as far as I know, there's only 2 people been killed by wolves. More people die from bee stings than by wolf attacks. Wolves are naturally shy, and they don't like us to begin with. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Dee Dee.
Mark was a parent, and you know, out of respect to respect the apex predation in the Rockies, you are also protecting your kids. Regardless, I was with the Department of Interior for 10 years, Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park.
Dee Dee, we have to go to break. Stay with us, folks. We will be right back. Do stay tuned.
Here's a little secret I'm telling you. Take a little pledge called the 2x2. Spend $2 on local food each day and get 2 friends to do the same and play. Oh, they'll spend their money, and when they're through, they'll get 2 friends and do it too.
We can eat our way to economic security and personal freedom. It won't cost an extra dime, and it will be so easy, it will make you blush. All it takes is 2 numbers. One is 2, the other is 2, 2. Join us. Take the 2x2 pledge.
There's a little secret I shared with you, a simple pledge called the 2x2. You can do it. It don't cost much. It's so easy it'll make you blush. Pledge 2 local bucks each day. Get 2 others to pledge and play.
Take your 2x2 pledge at metrofarm.com.
2x2.
They say we spend $25 billion a year sweating it out at the gym. Sweat contains some of the essential nutrients your body needs to grow strong and stay healthy. If you sweat these nutrients out and fail to replace them, your body will begin breaking down. Some say you can get all 90 of the essential nutrients from the foods you eat. Maybe, but if you eat foods from farmed-out soils or foods that have had the life processed out of them, you will deprive your body of some essential nutrients. You can get all 90 of the essential nutrients your body needs for less than a daily latte with a 90 for Life Healthy Start Pack. It's easy, it's delicious, and they are essential.
Get all 90 of the essential nutrients your body needs to grow strong and stay healthy with a 90 for Life Healthy Start Pack at nutrientstogo.com. That's nutrientstogo.com. Get all 90 of the essential nutrients your body needs for less than the cost of a daily latte at nutrientstogo.com. That's nutrientstogo.com.
Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. That's why Dignity Health Dominican Hospital and Dignity Health Medical Group Dominican work with you to make personal choices regarding your health. It's the type of care we can offer because we're more than just a hospital and medical group. We're part of this community. Visit DominicanHospital.org to find a doctor and start living healthy today. Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
Is there life on Mars? It's a question that has fascinated humans since we invented telescopes. This Sunday at 2 p.m. on Planet Watch, Join hosts Rachel Ann Goodman and Joe Jordan as they talk with NASA Ames planetary scientist Carol Stoker. She'll talk about efforts to find life on other planets and implications for life on our own Earth. That's Planet Watch, big solutions to planet-sized problems. Sundays at 2 p.m. on KSCO, AM 1080.
So much to say, so little time to say it on the food chain with Michael Olson.
Well, they are out there, the diseased animals spreading throughout the West. Chronic wasting disease, a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy like mad cow disease. What to do about it? Dee Dee, quick question. Are you still there, Dee Dee?
Yeah, I hope I'm not seeming disrespectful to Mark. I have respect for both sides. Back in the day when I was running around the backcountry with California black bears, we all know how predictable they are. They don't generally charge or attack people, in fact, ever. But as soon as we get into the Rockies and Canada and some of the other really remote areas, bears become extremely unpredictable, grizzlies and black bears. That said, wolves, this is very new. I mean, wolves are not new to us as human beings, but to try to manage wildlife, in my experience, has been mostly a lot of bittersweet and a lot of failures. And as a mother now, I understand. When I was running around back in the day and working for them, National Park Service, I really was a lot more liberal in my thinking. But now I really understand both sides, especially parents, for example, in the more isolated areas like Wallace, Idaho. I understand both sides. Plus, where we're moving, people are not even talking about it. They don't want to talk about it. They're mad. They're mad at each other. That's kind of a shame.
Let me ask you a question, Dee Dee. What happens if we don't allow the wolves to moderate this chronic wasting disease?
Nobody's going to not allow wolves to do anything. Wolves don't stay in boundaries. Bears don't stay in boundaries. Wolverines don't. Nothing stays in a boundary. They're out. I know. I understand what you're talking about in theory, but these guys are already out and about. And the Fish and Wildlife Service is already hiring bounty hunters to kill a lot of them in Idaho because the population has just taken off. So that's sad. So what are we managing exactly? It's just this back and forth tug at push and pull of, oh no, now we're killing them. Oh no, now there's too many of them. I waited taken a little more time to study this about the genetics and the wolf to leave down here, which was here originally in history, not bring these animals down here. But hey, that's just my opinion.
Well, and thank you for making it. We really appreciate it, Dee Dee. Great call. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Let's see. We can have Rory. Are you there, Rory?
I'm here. Thanks for taking my call. And I share some of Dee Dee's concerns about how these wolves are managed, and they will have to be managed or they'll have their way. Like she said, it goes into the sheep herd and it kills the sheepdog first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are powerful animals, and I know your guest knows that. Question I have for your guest is, what's the status of these wolves? Are they considered endangered, protected? What recourse do livestock owners have with obtaining depredation permits to deal with nuisance wolves?
Well, you have just about 10 seconds to answer the question, Mark. What do you think? Thank you, Rory. Mark?
No, that's a great question. I know I can only speak for Montana, but I'd like to touch on Idaho a little bit. Idaho has the most heavy-handed wolf policy, management policy on the books. They have the longest hunting and trapping season for wolves.
And with that, we're going to have to end it because we're out of time. What a good question, though, and what a great guest. Thank you, Mark Cook, president of Wolves of the Rockies. I always wanted to be president of Wolves. That must be an exciting job, Mark. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning in.
You've been listening to the award-winning Food Chain Radio Show with Michael Olson. And if your friends miss the show, tell them to log on the food chain page at metrofarm.com for a listen. Now, go out and find some food with its farmer's face on it and live.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
CBS News, I'm Bill Rakoff. It's the Senate's turn to take up the health care reform bill that narrowly passed the House this week. CBS's Errol Barnett says the Senate will come up with its own version of the bill. Then the two chambers will have to negotiate a final version.
The Republican majority body could pass its version of health care reform without any support from Democrats through a process called reconciliation. But that process could take time as the details are ironed out and as many Republican senators envision major changes of their own.
The president touted the House version of the bill in his weekly address, saying it would bring, in his words, great health care to all Americans. In Texas, 15-year-old Jordan Edwards is being laid to rest by his family today, hours after a former police officer surrendered to face murder charges. Family attorney Lee Merritt says the arrest of former Balch Springs officer Roy Oliver is a step in the right direction.
It doesn't take away the sting of obviously losing their son, but it does soften the blow a bit.
Oliver shot at a car full of teenagers leaving a party, killing 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. He'd claimed the car was backing toward him, but body cam footage showed the car speeding away when Oliver opened fire. Hostage-taking now a part of a new call by ISIS to wage terror in the United States. More from WCBS reporter Miles Miller.
The section of ISIS's propaganda magazine called Just Terror Tactics calls for supporters to launch lone wolf attacks that include taking hostages. The NYPD told officers the terror group thinks taking hostages slows down police response, ensuring maximum casualties. Officers were warned to be on high alert following the threat that also urged supporters to ram large-scale public places like nightclubs, movie theaters, shopping malls, and restaurants. The issue also described how easy it is to purchase guns without background checks in the United States.
As France goes to the polls to choose a new president, some voters don't care for either choice.
Both candidates are not very good for me. I mean, one is extreme and the other one is very young and the program is not clear.
Centrist Emmanuel Macron leading far-right populist candidate Marine Le Pen in the polls going into the votes. Treatment for a disease is the reason for a prisoner's suit against the state of Tennessee. Here's CBS's Jim Crisula.
A federal judge has granted class action status to a lawsuit that accuses the state of Tennessee of systematically denying prisoners treatment for hepatitis C. The legal action filed by two inmates with the virus seeks to get the state to pay for a far more costly treatment of the disease, but one that is also considered more effective.
At the movies,
there must be some kind of peaceful resolution to this. Or even a violent one where I'm standing over there.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 kicking off this summer movie season, a $17 million opening night on Thursday. This is CBS News.
After all the sleep you cost your mom through the years, it's time to give it all back. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift she deserves, great sleep on Boll & Branch sheets. Our sheets are handcrafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer over time. We guarantee she'll love them. She can try them risk-free for 30 nights. Now through Mother's Day, get $50 off your first set plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Some U.S. colleges and universities say Donald Trump's presidency is having a chilling effect on applications from international students.
Foreign student applications to U.S. colleges and universities have declined considerably on many campuses, blamed on anti-immigrant talk from the Trump administration. At Iowa State University, admissions director Katherine Johnson-Susky says a school video on social media reassures overseas students they'll be treated well in the Midwest.
Some students are still fearful of coming to Iowa State, and really the United States as a
whole. Concerns about discrimination, racism, will they be welcome here?
International students, she says, enrich her school with valued diversity. Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
Robert A. Wilson has died. He's the father of actors Luke Owen and Andrew Wilson, and a landmark public TV station executive who introduced Monty Python's Flying Circus to their first American audience. Wilson died Friday. He was 76. Bill Rakoff, CBS News.
After all the sleep you cost your mom through the years, it's time to give it all back. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift she deserves: great sleep on Boll & Branch sheets. Our sheets are handcrafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer over time. We guarantee she'll love them. She can try them risk-free for 30 nights. Now through Mother's Day, get $50 off your first set plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com. Promo code SLEEP. That's bollandbranch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
You're listening to KSCO, serving King City, Mount Hermon, and Chular.
Good morning. You're listening to KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1080, FM 1041, KSCO.com, and streaming live in beautiful high-definition color on KSCO Global on YouTube. That's KSCO Global. Check it out, and please drop us a subscription. Just past 10:07, we'll get a quick look at the traffic. Highway 1 looking good between Santa Cruz and Carmel right now on the Central Coast. Did have some heavy stuff on the 101. Looks like right north of Prunedale. A couple of miles of 5 mile per hour traffic. Don't see any listed reason from CHP, but we have had some calls. Just be patient. You'll be back to the limit northbound at San Juan Road. Southbound, a brief slowdown in the area. Your weather today, beautiful, mostly sunny skies in the afternoon after the fog burns off around noon-ish. A high near 68 today here in Santa Cruz. We do have a wind advisory in effect through 9 p.m. Boaters forecast including a small craft advisory, along with northwest winds 15 to 25 knots, wind waves 3 to 5 feet, west swell 6 to 8 feet at 10 seconds. Just past 10:08, up next on KSCO, it's the Saturday Special with your host, MZ. Take it away, sir.
Can you hear me okay?
That's affirmative. We got you loud and clear.
Okay, good. All right, now do I have to set the iPhone video so that it doesn't go into lockdown mode, so that it just stays on all the time? Do you know? This is inside radio stuff, guys, so bear with us for a minute.
Did you have to do that last time?
No, I can't remember. I don't know. But so
right now I'm just showing a black screen.
You are okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's what you have to do.
Okay.
So here, display and
No
brightness. We'll just do auto lock never. And now, good. Now I'm going to reset it.
Okay.
And you should be able to see my smiling face.
Not
about now.
Not quite. Should
Do
I
you
hit?
see it?
Should I hit it back?
Huh?
Should I ping it again?
Ping it. Maybe you have to ping it again.
Okay.
Maybe you'll have to do that. Sorry. Yeah.
Shall
I
we-
apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
That's okay.
But we're going to change the name of the Saturday Special from Saturday Special to Train Wreck Radio, and everybody likes to watch a train wreck or be rubberneckers on a freeway at an accident.
There we go.
Okay.
Looking
as
good.
eerie and strange as that sounds. So why not call it Train Wreck Radio?
Hey, nice
the
headset.
Saturday Special. You like or you don't like?
Yeah, that's very nice.
I did it. I've had this for years, and when I was fumbling around a few weeks ago from the farmers market at the San Francisco Ferry Building, you know where all the ferries are. I decided it made more sense to have headphones and microphone that I don't have to hold and fumble around and see. So
Yeah,
that's
it
what we
looks
did.
super legit.
Good. Yeah, I look like a grown-up announcer now. So,
Yeah.
Huh.
That's right.
Okay. So let's see.
Shall
What's
we?
on the docket for today? I've decided that years ago, I realize now, and this has been this way for many, many years, but Jewish people get smart late, is what my grandmother used to say, and I've said that before, and she's right. Jewish people do get smart late, but better late than never, right? And years ago, it used to be real easy to get people to get on a Saturday Special program, have a nice debate or an interview on an interesting subject or something. But now it's like pulling teeth from a cow because no one wants to give up their weekend, or any part of it, right? So it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It just isn't. So for that reason, I have, most of the Saturday specials tend to be things where I just pull topics out of a hat and we don't have a guest. That may be different today. It may be different today. We'll find out. But I want to share some of the things that happened with it. By the way, who's on line one? Is there somebody who's? Yeah,
no, there
what's
shouldn't
that all
be.
about?
I don't see anybody on line one.
Okay.
Looks
well,
empty.
I'm going to. Okay.
No, we don't have
Yeah.
anyone.
All right.
Not yet.
So, we haven't started the show officially yet. So why don't we do that with the Good Morning jingle?
Good morning, a brighter day is here. Good morning, may we bring you cheer.
We've got time, we've got tunes, we've got time, tunes, and temperature.
Get up and go, it's today you know on KSCO Radio.
Well, good morning, KSCO land. It's poor old MZ live from KSCO North, welcoming you to hour number one of the Saturday Special, where you can participate by calling on your telephone at 831-479-1080. Or you can participate on your email by shooting an email to mz@ksco.com. We are a totally interactive radio program in the original social medium.
Now stay right here on KSCO Radio.
Did I play the wrong one?
It's okay. It's fine. No, it's actually the appropriate one. And here's why: we may never play the Crossfire one again.
What?
Because Crossfire involves angst and negativity and toxicity and
controversy.
And I've had it. And I have had an epiphany this week, Jason Street.
What's that?
And his orchestra. And the KSCO audience. Several things happened to me this week that affected me very negatively and got me thinking in a negative, toxic way. And I don't know, I started thinking, geez, I don't like this feeling. And then something else happened. I don't like that feeling either. And I don't like that. And things happen in life where you want to, I'll show you, you know, you want to get even with people who you feel have done you wrong, right?
Oh, yeah, I got to get over, you know?
Yeah, you got to learn to just let it go. And just.
Oh, I meant get over it, is what I meant.
Okay.
Get over it.
Yeah. Rather than let something eat you alive, and especially multiple things eat you alive, you're way better off to just say no to stress and say no to negativity. And it got me thinking, you know, the internet has produced, the high technology with all the blogs and everything, have produced ways for people who are naturally negative, ass bleep type people to have an outlet and for spewing their bile. And you know, and there's no consequences. Nor should there be. I'm not for, you know, punishing people and stuff like that. I'm just into totally being letting things happen naturally. And if a person is naturally a negative person, then that's fine. They can wallow with other negative people, I guess. I doubt that there are many positive people that would want to hang out with them. I know I'm basically a positive person. And when I feel myself being dragged down by negativity, I got to catch myself, you know, and stop the fall. Excuse me, turn it around. And like I said, that happened no fewer than 3 times to me this week. And it gave me the idea that maybe a really interesting topic for today's Saturday special would be that. I mean, negative people versus positive people. And if you're a naturally negative person at birth, can that change and can you become a positive person? I don't know the answer to that question. My dear departed mom used to tell me that she loves all her kids and they're great kids, and they are. But this particular kid, me, woke up every morning in a good mood. And not necessarily the other kids, you know, crying and cranky and stuff like that. But I was always in a good mood, according to my mom. So that tells me that I like to think that makes me a naturally positive person. And I think that's a good thing. And when the demons of negativity show up and try to, you know, wash over me and turn me over to the dark side, I got to catch myself before it's too late. And I think I did that successfully 3 or 4 times this week. And I got to say, I'm very, very proud of myself.
How did you manage to do that?
Well, I just started thinking about all these things that are happening that are affecting me negatively, and I'm in control of how I'm affected. I can just let it go by or let it make me crazy and get angrier and angrier and angrier and turn my life into a negative energy life from a positive energy life, and choosing the thought of becoming negative and putting out a lot of negative energy, it didn't set well with me. So I decided to you know, just look the other way. And unless something happens that's so bad that it's life-changing, or it really means something, instead of, you know, bruises my ego, or, you know, I didn't get exactly what I wanted, or things didn't turn out the way I hoped they would. If it's not terrible, then just let it go and rise above it.
Wow.
And I talked to someone else who we weren't. Pardon me. I'm going to turn off the microphone and clear my damn throat. So hopefully, I'm going to clear it so hard that I might lose my whole throat. In which case, you should be prepared to do the rest of the program.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay?
No worries.
I'm going to turn down the microphone
Please,
now and
please.
clear the hell out of my damn throat.
Yeah, these folks, you're listening to the Saturday special on this beautiful, May 6th, 2017, with your faithful host, Michael Zwirling, coming live from San Francisco, California. We're blessed to have him today. We've got some calls coming in. If you guys hang tight, we'll be with you shortly.
I think I got my throat cleared. But that doesn't mean that the crud won't come back.
That's okay.
Either as early as 30 seconds from now, maybe sooner, or maybe sometime before the program ends. But at least I'm warning you. So if it's an offensive sound to hear me talk in a way that makes you know that there's obviously some phlegm surrounding my vocal cords, and that it's an offensive sound to you, we won't hold it against you if you turn off the radio or tune to another station or whatever, because we don't like to have our senses offended either, and I totally understand that.
Well, it's all part of getting out that negativity, right? You know.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so now. So, let me. I guess we can take our first caller at 479-1080, Mark in Santa Cruz, who wants to talk about converted to positivity. Positivity. Mark, tell me about your journey. Was it a long one?
Well, somewhat, yeah. I was, born to nice parents and raised well, but I always tended to look at the problems in life and focus on them a bit, and I did okay and everything's fine, but I saw my mom, who is now 91, and she lost 2 brothers in World War II. She's outlived her other siblings. She had lived through the Depression and all the social changes and everything, and boy, she just always is super positive no matter what. She looks for the best in people, and she's not like a doormat or anything to anybody. She's certainly well-informed and stands up, but her overall attitude is positive. So, I sort of
That's
said,
great.
boy, she's a bit of a Pollyanna, but eventually I just decided I'm going to try doing that myself. And it works, and it's changed my life. My outlook is positive. I look
how long have you been the new positive Mark?
I'd say about, she had a big health crisis about 4 years ago, and I'm in my 50s, so about 4 years ago, maybe I would say probably that somewhat triggered it. Even this big health crisis.
You say it changed your life. Obviously, it changed your life for the better. Give us some examples of some things that are better in your life since you've adopted a more positive attitude.
Well, I think part of it is looking for the best in people and trying to look in their shoes, their experiences, and through their lenses. So I'm better at actually relating to people and getting what both of us want out of the relationship. I wake up in the morning and I look forward to the day instead of the troubles that I'm going to encounter. But I look forward to it, and I try and just go for the, and maybe I filter my life.
What about negative people in your life? What about negative people in your life? Do you shun them?
Yeah, okay, that's.
Do you
I have
pull them
somewhat,
out from
yes.
your? Do they pull them out of your life? Do you pull them out of your life?
I'm still very nice to them, but I do not have the time that I used to have for them. I don't allow them to take up my time. I'm trying to hopefully my positivity will reflect on them and they will have some kind of a change or a possibility, but I'm not allowing them to take my time and turn my positivity negative.
Okay, great. Hey, I salute you. Thank you for calling the Saturday special, and thanks for being a KSCO listener.
Always enjoy your program. We'll see you.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Here comes our own Dr. Biles, a fabulous dentist that practices the kind of a dentistry that is you don't see very often. And I've been remiss in I need to come back and see you professionally, Dr. Biles. And I've been out of town so damn much that I've been a bad boy.
No, I actually I
By
totally
the way,
understand. Yes.
I'm looking at myself on the video stream, and I want to ask this. I've asked it before, and people think I'm crazy, but when I'm going to ask this question, white is a bright, positive color, right? Like people like white.
Pretty
teeth
much,
and
yeah.
But yellow, like a bright yellow is a sunny yellow. That's a bright, positive, high energy, color too. But why is it that when people have yellow teeth, other people are grossed out? Because, yellow was a positive, fun.
That's a great question.
Exciting color.
Yeah.
You'd think it would make people happy.
White is an exciting. But white on teeth is good, but yellow on teeth is bad. Now,
Not
I
so
happen
good.
to love my yellow teeth. I'm looking at them right now.
Well, now.
and so can everybody else if they tune in. Where do they have to go, Jason?
YouTube.com, KSCO Global channel. KSCO Global.
All right. Do they kick us off for playing music that we're not supposed to play?
No, it's Facebook that does that. Yeah, YouTube was a little more lenient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dr. Biles. I'm just so.
No.
Yeah. I'll shut up now. You called for a special reason.
Well, a couple things. Thank you, before I forget, thank you for the kind words. Secondly, let me address this question from, there's no real answer except, I come from the psychology on this, and that's that we've been conditioned to see white as pleasing, for sure. And in this state where so much emphasis is put on, how good you look and everything, and whitening and this and that, that's where, it tilts. So I don't know. I think, actually next when I do the show today, and we can do that on YouTube. It might be a good idea, Jason. So I'll be prepared for that, because we're going to talk about teeth today, and we'll cover some of that stuff. But that's not why I called. I was listening to the opening to the show, and I can understand, all of that, trying to find guests on Saturdays and topics and everything. But this is really a fun, good show because it opens up so much of life to other people. It's like
I
it's like
figure
a great
it's everything that happens.
show, too.
Nana used to tell me. Nana was Mom's mother. She used to say She spoke in a heavy accent. Everything that happens, it happens for the best. So if it's not meant to be for me to have a guest on Saturday, it means that I'm gonna come up with something else. I'll pull something else out of the hat.
I'm going to give you that something else. That's why I called. That's why I
good.
called. Okay, and I think this will stimulate enough conversation for you. I hope, anyway, that your throat won't be stressed too much. I think it's a topic to be covered, and that's the great thing about this radio station is that these things can happen. So, the two of us, most recently, you lost your mom, and I lost my brother a couple of years ago, and it's really had an effect on me. I mean, I'm going through and doing what I do, but for sure, my best friend. Anyway, what struck me was how we approach everything and deal with it, and that's what got me thinking. And the topic I would cover for I think we'll bring in a lot is the effect. As we're getting older, you and I are about the same age, and
I'm
as
65.
we get older, and I'm 64 and a quarter. It's kind of like the kids that come in. I'm 69 and a half, but I'm going to be 70.
Right.
So, so the gig is that you and I are having to cope with more death around us now than we've ever had to in our lives.
Yeah, a lot of it going
we're
around.
losing parents, we're losing friends, we're losing acquaintances, we're losing heroes, and it causes you to focus on other issues in your life and your own mortality for sure. But, this other gentleman who called was talking about his mother. my aunt lived a long life too, and she had to deal with all this stuff. And that's what I see about the elderly people that are in my practice. They outlive all their relatives, and there's an attitude plays such a role. So, I thought, I'd open up the show to, hey, if you have any thoughts about what, this is a life phase that we go through, and how are people doing with that? What do they do to manage the loss? And there's differences between sudden loss and someone that lingers on for a long time.
Sure.
Maybe not a very uplifting topic. At the same time, those people who survive and do well. Last week I had a show on stress. It could have been, from my opinion, a lot more productive, but the bottom line is stress plays a huge role in everybody's health. So your thoughts there, Michael, on dealing with
I
stuff
visited my
stress.
very good friend, Roy Masters, who might be on this show later today, depending upon how things work out. I've already talked to him, and when it comes to managing stress, this man is the world master. No pun intended. I mean, that's his name. But I know of no one who understands stress, which must be viewed as a disease-causing entity. When I visited him and spent time with him in 2005, I needed some help because I had my best friend who happened to be the manager, the station manager at KSCO, was having substance problems. And I didn't want to fire my best friend because he was my best friend. And I called Roy and I said, hey, I want to come and visit you, and I want to talk to you. He's just a wonderful person who gets you to see things clearly. And you don't have to go visit him. You can talk to him on his advice line now. He's slowing down. He's 89 years old now, but he's just as sharp, just a little slower.
I believe
we'll hear that if we have him on the radio program. But he's developed a what he used to call observation exercise. It's a form of meditation that people can practice, and it does wonders for the mind and the spirit and the body and everything. And much more lately, he has adopted it to our soldiers who have post-traumatic stress disorder, right? But I talked with Roy this week. He called me and said, hey, MZ, I would really like to make a talk to young people, a non-political talk to young people. I said, that about what, Roy? He says, well, about how it's not just the military that has post-traumatic stress and disorder. It's many people, and maybe most people, and maybe all people. And I have a way to cure that I want to give away. I want to do something really nice, just not for money, but for leave a legacy. And I said, that's great, but Roy, there's this thing called Google, and this world that we're in now, where when people just Google something, or they do a search on it, and when people search you, who wants to, who might have set up a talk at UC Berkeley where this horrible thing involving Ann Coulter happened recently, which I think is going to have a chilling effect on all conservative speakers everywhere, because they're going to start saying, hey, we are a freedom of speech thing, but there's a limit, when people's safety is involved, when there's a threat of riots and violence and so forth, then at the very least we have to have super security, which is super expensive, and no one's going to be able to afford to pay it, and then there will be no Ann Coulter speech, which is exactly what happened. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. Now, as soon as people Google Roy after we've set up this thing, if we can set up this thing at one of these colleges, they're going to see, look, they're going to see all this stuff that they're going to say, oh, he's conservative. Oh, yeah, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
They're going to have Molotov cocktails ready for him when he shows up.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's also
anyhow.
denying the right to assemble. Do you see that? We that's another right in the Bill of Rights that I don't think anyone's bringing up. It's it's taking away the right to assemble. Isn't that interesting that the founding fathers tied that in there?
Yeah. Yep, you're right. You're
But back to Roy
absolutely right.
Masters.
Uh-huh.
You know, he sounds like a font of wisdom, and that's what you get from years of experience and knowledge. I recall talking to him on the telephone, and yes, I need to get him on the show too. Well, I hope some callers have called in, Michael. It's
Oh yeah, it'll be great. It'll be just fine. But I have to figure out how to bring up the. Okay, here we are. There you are. There's Wendy and Ben Lomond. There's Mike in Watsonville. Mike in Watsonville wants to talk about negative energy.
Okay.
But he's going to do it presumably in a positive way.
You're onto a good topic. People need to know how to cope in what they're dealing with. So
thank you, Dr. Biles. And your show today, again, do a promo? Right after the
we're
show?
going to be talking. We're actually going to have a dental talk today. I had a big request for it, so we're going to talk about teeth. And I think we'll do it YouTube because we'll do some drawing. Okay, Jason? Talk to you soon.
Fantastic.
Bye.
All right, Dr. Biles.
Okay. Thanks for calling in,
Thanks.
Dr. Biles. Okay,
You're welcome. Good to
unlock
talk to you.
that. And now here is Mike in Watsonville.
Hey, Mr. Zwerling. Hey, number one, I want to thank you for your just all the speakers you have on your radio station and the flexibility you allow them to have. And they're all different, and I'm sure at times they say things you don't agree with, and they still have a job. So I really appreciate that.
Once in a while, I get so angry when someone they say something that's just so wrong and so against and like so it really strikes a chord with me. But then I have to catch myself and say, hey, wait a minute, explain it to me. Tell me why you feel that way. And maybe there's some legitimacy in what if I'm going to cut you off, that's not the right thing to do. And I've done that once or twice, but I try to catch myself before I do that. But anyhow, didn't mean to, cut into your phone time.
Oh no, I'm talking about more your staff, all your different speakers on the radio that have different perspectives and stuff, from Georgia to all of them and stuff. But anyway, hey, we're talking about negative energy. And I've had people tell me for years they listen to right-wing radio, and eventually they just kind of stopped because it was making them negative. I'm in a position where I work and I listen to the radio all day long, from right-wing radio. And sometimes I wonder, I wonder if I would just be a little more positive if I just didn't listen to it because, it's just all day long. So what's your opinion on that? I mean, we have, you got from Michael Savage.
I hate to say it, but there's quite a bit of legitimacy in what you're suggesting, I think, much as I hate to say that.
My kids have told me that, and I just kind of, just wonder, man, if
I can't listen to too much of it myself, even on KSCO. That's I'm not dissing any particular host or anything like that. It's just I'm busy. I don't have a whole lot of time to listen. I wish I had more time to listen, but then when I do listen to stuff that's so negative, I just feel like it depresses me and drags me down, and I don't want to be depressed and dragged down. I want to be positive.
Yeah, I just kind of wondered that because I know you're kind of catch-22 because it's part of your business. I'm speaking, you got Mark Levine, Savage, and they're all great speakers, but you go from station to station to listen to these people, and man, you think the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and it's all over and stuff, and it's just and I told myself every year, I'm going to cut back, but I never do and stuff. I just let it go all day long, listening to it. But I just wanted to.
Sort of like the fascination with a train wreck or a car wreck, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
But
hey,
yeah. So,
I think your mom.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I think your mom is as wise as Solomon, so I always have. So the minute I started hearing her on KSCO, first of all, at that point in time, I learned there's actually conservative Jewish people, out there, and it was just real encouraging. And I really think this lady was smart as can be, and I've given her books away as Christmas gifts. So,
wow, yeah. We still have cases and cases of them, and I think they should
they're
be
still down there.
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
We have. We'll still do a case of Kay's books for like $3 or $4 or something like that.
No.
By a case quantity.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, per book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
per book.
yeah. No, I remember you were saying that
so
last
like
year.
$100
and
or
I thought you-
$99, you can still buy a case of them, and I think you're
And
right.
they're
They
at-
make wonderful presents anytime. You know, it doesn't have
And
to be
they're at
holiday
the
season.
shop down there at the station. They're
Yeah,
on
yeah. I
site.
think
Okay.
we probably have 30 or 40 cases left, but or maybe probably not that many, but when
Okay,
they're
I'm gonna
gone,
go down
they're
and get a
gone.
case.
And,
Yeah, exactly. I thought they were all
but
gone
yeah,
too.
what a great and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of my best friend. But not only that, where something doesn't happen where she's brought up by somebody like you did just now, right?
Well, you know what? The other day, Shardy was speaking about something, and he was not pleasurizing her at all. It was coming up to the top of what he's thinking about. And I remember exactly, you know what, Kay Zwerling spoke of that, 5 years ago. And I called him, said, go look in your archive because it's there. It was almost word for word. I mean, this lady just had a lot of wisdom. And so anyway,
every time it comes up on the Saturday special, I suggest that we have a treasure trove. We have hundreds and hundreds of her commentaries that she did over like a 15-year period.
You know what? I wish you guys would play them again.
That's what everybody says, and so and I say, yeah, let's do it. And the weeks and months go by. So
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
okay.
Okay. Hey,
Let's see.
have a great weekend.
Thank you. You
Sure.
too. Appreciate your call to 479-1080. There goes Mike in Watsonville.
Should we get a commentary queued up?
Which one?
I don't know. Yeah, which one do you think?
Go. You
I'll
know
find
where
one. All right.
where the archives are. Yeah, pick one that
Okay.
you think would be great, and then just let me know.
Cool.
Jason is the pilot in command. He's at KSCO. I'm in San Francisco, and here I guess you could look and see where I am. I'm turning the camera around now. Yeah, it's very nice. I want to get. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, but one thing for sure is if we don't try, we're not going to succeed in doing this. And by this, I'm talking about bringing the KSCO independent media experience. It's interactive, with old media like telephones and new media like Facebook and YouTube to the Bay Area. There's a lot of media up here, but it's all corporate media. It's sort of boring and not very innovative. And maybe we're not as innovative as I like to think we are, especially since I was talking to Jason earlier today. I said, golly, it was like a month ago that I took this portable broadcast equipment over to the ferry building, where all the ferries are, where they have the Saturday farmers market. Did a program that a lot of people said was pretty interesting. But I was thinking every show we have on the station, certainly every Saturday special, should take advantage of technology, which we've had for more than a decade, and just go, it's all battery powered and it's all wireless, so it connects through the internet or through the cell phones back to the radio station and sounds like I'm right there, not on a tinny sounding telephone. And just do everything from remote and have audio, have video as well as audio components to the transmission. Hell, Alex Jones has been doing that for 20 years, and we've had the technology. We're just too lazy to use it. So anyhow, that's what I'd like to do. Rory is up, but Wendy and Ben Lomond has waited a lot longer. So, and by the way, if anybody else wants to call and be part of the program, it's 831-479-1080 or email mz@ksco.com. Dave Michaels has his own way for people to text him, and he'll get it on the air. And I haven't figured that.
That's
haven't done that
218
yet, but I will.
KSCO, 218 KSCO if you'd like to reach Dave on the
you-
text. Also, he's
Yeah, but
here
I mean,
right now.
good.
He's here at the
He's
station
at the
in the
Dave
cave. Yep, indeed. If you guys need to pick up those longevity products, 2300 Portola Drive, Dave Michaels in the Dave Cave today till 2 p.m. Don't miss it.
But that phone number, that text number that you gave just now,
Yeah.
if someone texts to that number, will you see it?
No,
Or that's
Dave will
only
see
Dave?
that. Yep.
Okay, great. Well, so that's great, and he's on for 15 hours a week from 4 to 7 doing Flight 1080. He's the pilot in command, just like you are today, for the Saturday special. But if you want to connect with the show here now, the only way to do it is to call 479-1080 in area 831 or email mz@ksco.com.
You can also weigh
Wendy.
in on the YouTube channel. There's a chat room there, live chat. You can interact with each other, and I'll be monitoring that.
How many people are watching it now, Jason?
Oh, about 30.
That many?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. I thought I was afraid. As I asked you that, I was saying, "Gee, maybe I shouldn't ask him that because he might say 2 or something, and then I'll feel bad." But I shouldn't feel bad. It is what it is. If maybe people would rather listen to the Saturday special and not lose their lunch when they see what I look like, right? I mean, and you can't blame people for that. Okay, Wendy, you're up.
I'm up. Okay. Well, that was a really negative thing.
Touche.
Wow. Well, you went over some. The callers have brought up some interesting ones. One was negativity in media, and I'm like, why are the Republicans still all negative? They're in charge. Okay. With that said, and then personal loss. And but I was looking back, and I'm like, we had a huge global problem about a decade ago, and we had lost illusions that real estate was always going to be the perfect investment, that there was never going to be anything wrong with your pensions, that everything was fine. You just do the right thing and everything's okay. And the economic downturn crushed a lot of that. And I think a decade later, we're still reeling from it. And we're starting to maybe see the light after the dark tunnel.
I'm still a believer in real estate. Not that it doesn't have its headaches and it does go down, but as a long-term investment, a real estate in a highly desirable place like Santa Cruz or a highly desirable place like San Francisco, as tough as it is to get in, and I tell Dave and I tell everybody at the radio station, who get yourself a piece of the rock. No matter how much it hurts, just do it because you'll never regret it.
I don't know.
Never regret it.
I'm into much smaller real estate as well, but because
that's okay. Whatever you can afford, as long as it's yours and can't be taken away from you.
Really compressed real estate, really compacted soil. Like diamonds are a girl's best friend. That kind of thing. There's there are different and stocks are still out there. But when you start thinking just real estate as your home, as an investment, you really downplay your life because it is where you live, it is your physicality, and it can be very cruel to you.
Oh yeah.
If you're living in the wrong place, if
you don't really own real estate, it really owns you, and I figured that out. And I still, as a long-term investment, I can't think of anything better still.
Well, California
that was one of the
fantastic.
negative things that happened to me. It involved a real estate purchase here, where I'm dealing with a board of directors in a stock co-op, where you don't actually own fee title to the property, but you own stock in the corporation that owns the whole building. See, right. I've never done that before, and we're trying to get. We're trying to get super fast internet into the building here because I'm going to need that in order to do what I want to do with, the media stuff here in the Bay Area, and you hear the ads for Etheric Networks. Etheric Networks is a internet, a wireless internet service provider.
Right, they sound great.
In the same sense that we are an independent radio station. Okay. I love the guy and I love the people. I've gotten to know a lot of the people. It's a small company, but it's a small company that's a really quality company. And that great voice that you hear doing the etheric ads, you can play one of them, you can find them, Jason, belongs to Alex Hagen. who is the CEO and the founder of that company. And
this is
I know.
Alan
Whoops, wrong. But
No,
my
that's-
bad.
Well, Alan does that, but
Yeah. My bad.
Dr. Future is has done a
Is
testimonial.
your internet connection slow? Do you
That's
Yeah, that's that.
Yep.
Yeah.
support?
Okay, that's the voice.
Yep. He's got a great voice. We ought to have him back on sometime soon.
Sure, and he's a fun person.
Oh,
too.
very, very smart
Anyhow,
guy.
I arranged for him to meet the board of directors up here at the apartment complex here in the high rise, because everybody complains about really lousy internet from Comcast or AT&T. Just horrible. It's almost like dial-up and very, very expensive, and they're very arrogant, and they have horrible customer service. Exactly the opposite of what people love about Alex's company and my company. It's like pulling teeth from a cow to get any kind of a change, even though everybody agrees that the internet quality is lousy, you know. So they agreed to do a test here, but the test has to be done in someone else's apartment, not mine. So, because they figure I have an axe to grind, which I suppose I do, but so what, you know. And long story short, I have to wait another month or two before I could get the quality internet that I want in this place. And that was stressing me out so damn much. And then I caught myself. I said, you know what? It's just not the end of the world. It's not like I've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So it just let it go. Just live with it. It's no big deal, you know.
It's an
And
expensive
some other things like that happened this week that I finally decided to treat with a different reaction. That's with a positive instead of negative reaction.
Well,
So
I think
anyhow,
you're a
there you
person
go.
who's used to being in control and going into a situation basically in liberal land. I mean, extraordinaire. Like I think I said that you're like the island of liberalism there. And you're looking for something that
Your
is
sea of good sense in the sea of Santa Cruz liberalism.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh on KSCO AM 1080 at FM 104.1.
Yeah, well,
And we're also if you're in the Silicon Valley, newsflash, we're now on, effective 2 days ago, we're on FM 107.9.
all right, moving around.
And we're through the Gilroy corridor up to South San Jose. I don't think we're going to try to tweak it so we get farther up into San Jose, but we're on the air now with KSCO on FM over the hill. If you tune it in on our side of the hill, you won't get it. You'll get another station. You won't
Well,
get
I mean,
us.
you can always set up more of your shows for syndication. Just make them a little less local, a little more global, and I mean, you can put them out to everywhere. You know,
We
there
could do
are
that.
small stations, and you can always sell to corporations.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there who are
although
fascinated with
there is
California.
a lot of good content. We like to think our content is superior, but we still choose to have Rush. We still choose to have Coast to Coast overnight, a very high quality program, who happens to be a partner with us. But you know, for many years before they were a partner with us in our longevity business, we still carried Coast to Coast because it's quality radio.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Dave
there's
Allen
so
used to
many,
love
and,
to
and
complain about
Rush
that.
is a quality program too, and Rush is like a McDonald's franchise. If you're in the commercial talk radio business and you have the opportunity to have Rush on your station to the exclusion of all of your competition, you know, on a like market exclusive basis, and you say no, you're an idiot. You just ain't no business person. You know, because it's like saying no to a McDonald's franchise that you could afford, you know, if you have the money to do it, which is pretty much. But anyhow, thank you for calling, Wendy.
Thank you.
Always great to hear from you. And let's see. Paul sends an email saying, "Good morning, MZ and Jason. It seems to me that positive and negative types are almost alike. Are a lost like that naturally, almost genetically." I think that's a typo. Likewise with conservative versus liberal folks, it's almost organic. When we go again, our natives, that emotional friction arises, whichever we are. Nurturing plays a hand, but we show up here with a tendency to one or the other. My weapons against negativity are few but handy. One, giving a little time before acting on a negative surge allows the cause, usually transient, to just naturally go away. That's great advice. That's a wonderful. Either people or circumstances. Number two, realizing that you don't have to kiss these bleep holes goodnight almost allows you to pity them. You're likely not given a second thought by them, so don't give them the courtesy of your time. Three, knowing, that's sort of negative, but like Wendy pointed out. Three, knowing that something negative is headed your way, plan around it. Ooh, real smart. Four, listening rather than reacting. I will sometimes learn something regardless of the person. Number five, a good adult beverage when it's over. Number six, listening to KSCO almost every show is a pleasure. Aw, isn't that sweet? Carry on and thank you. And that's from Paul, who sent an email to mz@ksco.com. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines now. And the only person is Loyal Rory. Loyal Rory in Watsonville. It's the only caller left. We've driven all the others away.
They're all transfixed by what they're hearing on the radio, and they can't pull away to call.
I hope so.
Right?
Thank you for that. See, you were always one of my favorite naturally positive people, too, and there you go again. That's great. Thank you.
Well,
I was negative by saying we've driven people away, and you come and say, hey, they're riveted.
That's your sense of humor, though.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of your sense of humor.
Yeah,
anyway, it's interesting. We're so shaped, obviously, by our parents and circumstances in life, but we have decisions to make. So as far as being positive or negative, yeah, some of it might be your personality, but I think over time you got to figure it out. If you remain negative forever, you're always in a tailspin, or there's a dark cloud following you, and you attract other negative people. You know, birds of a feather flock together.
It's true. And you know, Rory,
yes?
I have the outlet of KSCO. I think a lot of people listen, but whether it's a lot or not as much as I think, there's still an audience there. And so often I've been tempted, you know, when I get mad about something, to use the voice to go and spout off. And then I guess the real reason is because I'm lazy and just don't want to write. But for the purpose of this Saturday special, I'll say that I thought it over and decided, why be negative? Be positive. When I'm really lazy.
That's great. But you know what? All these issues, like this thing with the etheric networks in your building, all these everybody's bombarded with these challenges every day. You've got to make decisions, and you got to have the long-range view. So I'll give you a bit of advice. My mother's grandfather, graduated from Santa Clara in 1913, and his philosophy professor there opened every class, and I don't know what grade level it was, but he said, gentlemen, because it was all men at that point, gentlemen, there's nothing new under the sun, and history repeats itself. He said that every day. So what, you know, going back to Solomon from the book of Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. What is that speaking to? Well, obviously it's not technology, because technology changes, implements, you know, whatever. The accoutrements change.
Yeah.
But what doesn't change? And the changeless thing is man's corrupt nature. By nature, we have a sin nature. We're corrupt. Okay, and that's where God Almighty comes in. So over time, my parents were Catholic. I was raised Catholic. They're very godly people, very consistent, integrity. You know, if they got undercharged on an item.
Guess what, Rory? We're at the end of the hour. We'll hold you over if you want. Okay, great. You're listening to KSCO Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose, and it's 11 o'clock.
CBS News. I'm Bill Rakoff. French President Francois Hollande is promising a response to the hacking of centrist presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron. Sky News correspondent Dominic Waghorn is in Paris.
It's not clear who's done it. It's probably the Russians. That's what digital experts seem to be saying. It's got Russian fingerprints all over it. Someone hacked emails and a phishing attack of various senior officials of the Macron campaign. They've managed to get 9 gigabytes worth of data, so emails, documents, memos, messages, and they put them out there, and the Macron campaign reckons that amongst that 9 gigabytes of data, there are a number of fake, false leads.
Macron is leading the populist right-winger Marine Le Pen in the polls going into tomorrow's presidential election in France. His family and friends say their goodbyes to 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. The former police officer accused in his killing faces charges, as Don Champion tells us.
Former Balch Springs police officer Roy Oliver faces a murder charge for the April 29th shooting death of 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. The officer turned himself in Friday evening, hours before Edwards' funeral.
Edwards being laid to rest today. His family, through a lawyer, says Oliver's arrest is helping them a bit. In his weekly address, President Trump celebrating the House passage of the bill to repeal and replace Obamacare.
It will be great health care, and your premiums will come down, and your deductibles will come down.
But in the Democratic response, Minority Whip Steny Hoyer of Maryland says
Democrats were unanimous in voting to reject Trump Care because we know exactly the harm it will do to health care in our country. It will kick 24 million Americans off their insurance coverage.
The Senate now has the bill, and they could come up with a plan of their own that would have to be reconciled with the House version. The American Heart and Stroke Association reporting 1 in 3 Americans have had symptoms of mini strokes, a problem that often precedes a stroke. On CBS This Morning Saturday, Dr. Tara Narula identified the symptoms.
If you feel sudden or unexpected numbness or tingling or weakness on one side of your body, trouble with your vision, trouble speaking or understanding language, difficulty walking, feeling off balance or dizzy, or even a sudden severe unexpected headache, those should trigger you to take action.
In southeast Georgia, a mandatory evacuation order has been issued for the town of St. George. A fire in the Okefenokee swamp near the Georgia-Florida line is drawing closer, and they're getting ready for Running the Roses at Churchill Downs.
Arkansas Derby winner Classic Empire is the 4-1 morning line favorite for today's Kentucky Derby. Trainer Mark Cassie says some of the field will be seeking revenge in today's race.
Classic Empire did something not many horses have done. He went to California and beat them in California. And now I said, they're coming to our house.
Todd Pletcher's Always Dreaming and Ian Wilkes McCracken are the co's second choices at 5-1 odds. Will Clark for CBS News, Louisville.
And this is CBS News.
After all the sleep you cost your mom through the years, it's time to give it all back. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift she deserves, great sleep on Boll & Branch sheets. Our sheets are handcrafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer over time. We guarantee she'll love them. She can try them risk-free for 30 nights. Now through Mother's Day, get $50 off your first set plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Good morning. You're listening to KSCO Santa Cruz AM 1080 FM 1041, KSCO.com, and streaming live in beautiful high definition color on YouTube. Check it out at KSCO Global. Don't forget to subscribe. It's 11:04. We'll check in on your traffic. Highway 1 on the coast. Looking good between Santa Cruz and Carmel. Nice time for a cruise there. A little bit of a slowdown northbound at 41st. No biggie. Actually, that's more like at State Park. Back to the limit in no time. 17 looking good up over the summit and back. 101, a little bit of congestion near Prunedale. But don't worry, you'll be back to the limit by the time you hit San Juan. A collision there, actually, in the northbound lane. Another collision up the road near Sargent, however, speeds there looking just fine. 129 still closed, by the way, east of Rogie Lane. You'll need to take San Juan to Carpinteria Roque. Your weather today, mostly sunny in the afternoon, a high near 68, west winds up to 26 miles per hour, cloudy overnight, a low near 50. Tomorrow sunny, like today, with a high near 69. Winds continuing through tomorrow. We do actually have a high wind advisory. That's in effect through 9 p.m. You boaters on the bay, be aware of a small craft advisory. That's in effect through this evening, along with northwest winds 15 to 25 knots with occasional gust up to 35 knots. Wind waves 4 to 6 feet. West swells 9 to 11 feet at 11 seconds. It's 11:06 at KSCO. Don't forget to come pick up your longevity products here at 2300 Portola Drive. Dave Michaels in the Dave Cave till 2. I'll be here the rest of the weekend after that. It's time now for hour 2 of the Saturday special with your host, Michael Zwirling.
Jason Struby.
Oh, yeah. I'm here.
Why didn't you tell me that that the video has my unmade bed in it? That the whole world could...
No, I turned it off. I turned your camera off.
Oh, thank you. Oh, bless you. Okay,
You're welcome.
Because I could see that it's... And I said, oh, my God.
Yeah, no worries.
No class at all.
I got your back.
Jeez. And then you do. Thank you. You're the greatest. So I want to. I didn't completely make the bed, but I partially made the bed. So
looking
it's not
looking good.
As disgraceful.
We appreciate that.
It would be. Okay. God, what a ridiculous radio station this is. A ridiculous radio show. Okay, you ready to do the hour 2 jingle?
Just about. Ready?
Oh, hello, darling. I hate to hang up on you, but I'm sorry, baby, but I have to go. It's time for that wonderful record show. I'd love to visit, but you'll have to call back. KSCO has the inside track.
Well, I must say, we are doing a great Saturday special today. Do you think that's an egotistical thing that I just said because it's my show?
I'm sorry, baby, but I really gotta go to KSCO Radio. Bye.
Okay, we want to finish up with our good buddy Rory in Watsonville, who was gracing us with his wisdom. Go ahead, Rory.
Okay, we want to finish up with our good Watsonville.
Hey, what's going on? How come I'm hearing
he's there
echoes and stuff?
I can hear you, Michael.
Okay, well, go ahead. You're on, but I don't know why there's an echo now and there wasn't before. But go
He
ahead.
had his radio on.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you over the phone.
You had your radio on. Hey,
Well,
you should know you don't do that.
Well, I couldn't hear you over the radio, over the phone.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't
Okay.
piping in, but that's right. It's on.
All right.
But I'll just finish up here, just saying that we have a choice in life. We're all, like my cousin said at my uncle's funeral, I don't know, 5 years ago. She looked over at me. She said, "We're moving to the front of the line." And I said, yes, we are. My parents are gone. We are moving to the front of the line. I'm still in my 50s, but time flies. And we don't live forever. There is an eternity knocking on everybody's door. So my suggestion is make peace with your maker. That's where we're going to be forever, either with our maker or without our maker. And that's my advice. Make it through the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ, the greatest rabbi that ever lived. And I think that will shape your daily outlook because you have a hope in the future. Just like Michael, you have a hope you're going to see your mom again, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. And where do you get that hope? Where does that come from?
I just have faith that there is a better place that I will be someday where she and other loved ones of mine are, and I've actually I talked with her about that, and she said,
Sure.
I said, boy, I'm going to miss you when you're gone if you predecease me, which is the natural way to go, the natural way things are in life. And she said, yeah, but you know what? I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be with you all the time, you know, in you.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Interesting.
That has been very comforting, you know.
Well, that's
in the
awesome.
few
I
months
mean,
it's been, so.
Yeah, and the Holy Scriptures inform us of that. I tell my kids that didn't know my dad, I said, you're gonna meet my dad one day, your grandfather. You'll see him. You'll meet him. You'll be able to talk to him. He's a very kind man. I'm still trying to live up to his example. But anyway,
I want to let everybody know that we do have my good friend Roy Masters on hold. I want to finish up these two other calls real quick, and then I want to do the rest of the hour with Roy, my very special friend who's been on many times with us over the 20 plus years we've had the station. But Roy, thanks for your great advice. Okay?
Yeah, just one last comment. Be grateful, be thankful. We're a complaining people. We have a lot going for us in this North American continent. Be grateful to the Almighty, because that's how we draw every breath, every day. And there's always somebody that's doing more for you than you. So thank you, guys. Take care.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, real quick here, DT Downtown Al, real quick here. I want to have as much time with Roy as possible. I'm very interested in what you have to say, because it's always a good call.
Hey, Michael. I just wanted to follow up with what Rory said real quick, but then also say something about humor and how important that is to combat negativity.
Yes.
Rory's definitely right. You know, I had some health problems at one point and started to get depressed about it, but every morning I thought at least about three things. I was grateful to have like a bed to sleep in and food, and the fact that I lived in the US of A and California, and that can really start the day off positively, to realize how bad it is for some people in the rest of the world and how grateful we need to be that we live in this country, especially Santa Cruz area. But I wanted to say something about how important humor is, and that's what I've always appreciated about you and most of the people on your station. You gotta laugh at stuff. And, you know, I don't listen to Rush all the time, but I always appreciate the humor. Those fake commercials he does, like Spatula City and, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
And that one substitute host he has, I think his name's Mark Stern. Or no, Mark Stein. He's
Matt
Canadian.
Stein. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the Canadian guy. I think he's really, really funny. I actually enjoy him better than Rush in a lot of cases. But, you know, I remember a lot of these old activists, whether they were liberal or on the right side, the ones that had a good sense of humor were able to keep it up. And I think the radical, regressive left is losing that at this point.
Oh, no question. I mean, they've been humorless for the last 3 decades or more. You know.
Yeah. It's
did
not
I just
like
say
the
something?
funny
Did I
hippies.
just say something negative when I said I was going to be positive? Oh my God! I got to slap myself. Hey.
Well, no, I mean it's true, and I think that's why they're losing in a lot of cases. You know, one of the
Well, that's one of the
Reagan
things I
was
want
so
to talk to Roy
successful.
about. Roy Masters is very, very serious, but I know that he has an incredible sense of humor. He just cracks me up. So
Oh, no,
and
that
I'm sure he'll
comes
believe
through.
that's important too. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it
no,
comes
the
through. It does come through on his Advice Line show, which we carry. I think we carry it live on KOMY. I know we carry it, and I think we carry it live. But anyhow, hey, I want to get as much time with Roy as we can. I want to get Frank and Salinas here real quick. Thank you
Keep
for
us
calling.
laughing, though, okay? That's
okay,
really
Downtown
important.
Al.
And you got
It's
a
a
real
promise.
treasure with Dave there in the Flight 1080.
Great. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. There goes Downtown Al and Santa Cruz. Here's Frank and Salinas. Frank, real quick.
Hey, MZ, focusing on the positive. You are more powerful than you know. You speak what we speaks things into existence, and you did it at the beginning of this hour. You said, "What a great show we have." You spoke this great show into existence by what you focus on, and following Rory. Rory's amazing. Rory and Billy Sunshine. I love Billy Sunshine. 2 weeks ago, we had him on. You know, but I know I've listened to both those guys for about 20 years, and I would rather have what Rory's carrying, what he's got, than what Billy Sunshine has. and it's being positive, kind of like Pollyannish, maybe sounds
Yeah.
a bit, but Jesus going biblical. You know, the words mean things, power of the tongue. Jesus always spoke from the tree of life. It's the Pharisees and the religious attitudes that spoke from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Whenever we judge, we're speaking from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We want to speak life into people, encourage. And when you encourage somebody and you see them light up, endorphins are produced in your brain, and it makes you happy. It does something for your head. It's scientific.
Bingo. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
let's listen to Roy. God bless you.
Hey, thank you very much, Frank and Salinas, for calling 479-1080.
We have word
don't
from
know
our,
whether we're-
sorry.
We sure do.
We have word from our esteemed engineer Billy that 107.9 is pumping hard throughout the Silicon Valley, all the way up to at least 101 and 680 and beyond. So
Wow.
there you go, 107.9 in the Bay
terrific.
Area.
Fantastic. Well, South Bay Area. Anyhow, boy, it'd be wonderful to get going even further. But Roy, welcome back to KSCO. Your home away from home.
Oh, thank you very much. Was looking forward to it. I just want you to know that you were breaking up with the first call that I heard. It was really difficult to hear, but I hope I am here clear to hear that.
You sound good to me. Jason? What do you think? Roy
Loud and
sounds
clear.
good?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, good. And we have a new FM channel that we just got confirmed is being well heard in the Silicon Valley in the San Francisco, South San Francisco Bay Area. So we have a much greater potential audience today, Roy. But I wanted you to hear. I'm sorry, some of it broke up and you didn't hear it all that well.
Right.
But I wanted you to hear what our discussion was for the whole previous hour, at least a little bit, the tail end of it. About
I was
positivity
enjoying
versus
it,
negativity.
but it was coming through very difficult. But I'm ready to go.
Okay, so our KSCO audience knows you very well, and I would say the majority of our KSCO
you are
audience.
breaking up, but we'll do it okay together as long as I'm not broken up.
I don't understand what the problem is here, Jason. I wonder.
I think it's
is there
his
something we can
reception
do to-
probably, but you sound good to us, Roy. You sound good to us if
Okay.
you can hang with us.
I'm ready to answer your questions, whatever they are.
Okay. For many years, you have been the free psychiatrist of the world, and you are the longest standing radio talk show host alive, I believe. I don't think anybody has been on talk radio longer than you have.
Well, I created the system. I created the system from the very beginning.
I believe that is true, and you did that when you created your nonprofit organization, the Foundation for Human Understanding, FHU, which is now based in Oregon, in Grants Pass, Oregon. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And the purpose of that foundation, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and you're going to stop me if I say anything that's not quite right or doesn't go as far as it should. The purpose of the Foundation of Human Understanding is to provide resources for people to be the best they can. One of your books is How to Conquer Negative Emotions. One of your other books is How Your Mind Can Keep You Well. One of your other books has to do with eating properly and not. There's so much. I mean, you're such a prolific person. You are now 89 years old. You've slowed down a little bit, but you're just as sharp as I've always known, and you're such a you continue to be a national treasure. You said something that really bothered me earlier this week, Roy, on the telephone. You said I might not be around much longer, and that's the first time I've ever heard that kind of a statement out of you. And the first time I heard that statement out of my mom, she was gone in 5 weeks.
Yes.
So I don't know if you're having a premonition or what, but that told me I want to get you on sooner, get you back on sooner rather than later.
Well, let me make the point. I'm 89 years old, but I have discovered a tremendous amount of knowledge yet unknown to the world. But I've discovered many things. I've discovered the origin of the universe, and in 35 years I've written a thesis that will join religion with science. I've understood that. That will put that aside for the time being. That was a side hobby, so to speak. What I really discovered is the origin of all the sicknesses and diseases, mental, emotional, and physical, and even warfare. I've discovered the simple cause of all of them. There's not one single problem that doesn't arise from one single problem.
What is it?
The secret is, and you may want to hold your breath for a minute, is that men and women, human beings, should not be subject to emotions. I do not have any emotion whatsoever, because as long as I'm reacting to his emotions, I'm taking on the identity of another person or doing it to him. And it goes backwards and forwards and multiplies into many problems that cannot be solved by psychiatry or medicine. And then there's warfare. And to make it very simple, when you react to pressure, you become the extension of that pressure. And to avoid becoming to the extension of that pressure because you feel guilty and angry, you fight back. And then another person fights back to you. But if you find the divine, and you know what I mean by the divine, there's a word for it. It's a word for it, and I'm getting out. Sometimes I lose a thought. You must excuse me. Redemption is what I was using. The word redemption is cleansing, and when you sit still, the word in the scripture it says, "Be still." That got my attention. I found what it means to be still. It means to disconnect from your monkey brain, which is emotionally driven, to the love that God has that will flow through you and overcome the overcomer. What this does is cure you, and the way it cures you is simple. If you don't react, if you are subject to God and He loves you and He flows through you, He blows away, literally neutralizes the pressures that people put on you, and no matter how cruel they are, the calmer you become. There's a scripture that says everything happens for good. Every bad thing happens for good that loves the Lord. So that is, in other words, everything that's bad that happens, that looks bad, has a value to your strength to stand your ground. And this is important because once you understand that, all your sicknesses disappear.
Wow.
That's as quick as I could put it.
That's beautiful.
Now,
it's
one
right
more
on.
thing.
I mean, I believe
One
it's
more
right
thing.
on.
Yeah, it's right on. And one more thing. You spoke about me saying, I don't know how long I'm going to live. That's true. I would like to be the reaper as well as the sower, but I don't know if that's the case. I'm strong. I can fight. I can stand up for myself still. I've survived everything you can think of because I understood this. But I want the American people to understand there's going to be a civil war, and more than half the country has been destroyed and subject to people like Obama. But Obama is also subject to forces, enemy forces you don't see. And so the American people who are good, who love Obama, who's decent. He's got it because he is.
Wait a minute. I think you mean Trump. You said Obama
yes,
this last time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What a horrible.
You were
mistake.
saying Obama earlier, and I think you meant it. But this last, the name that you dropped, Obama, I think you meant Trump.
I did.
I think.
I
Okay,
did.
all right, good.
Listen, I'm getting old, and I missed it, and I appreciate you telling me. You're absolutely correct. But
I'm getting pretty old myself, and maybe in the not too distant future, I wouldn't be able to catch that one. But
yeah, that's all right. But now I want to say about that. I say that half the country does not work, and what's wrong with them? They're all sick. Everybody on the left is mentally ill, and subject to those who cause them to be mentally ill. And slowly but surely, Obama arose and began to be appointed to those who are mentally ill and need the support of the devil that had created them. The forces, the political forces that enable them to become less and less human, and more dependent upon the person that's demoralized them, and then treats them, rises up and treats them, and loves the evil. He loves the worst in people, and that's a powerful force where the country is more than half of many of those people. There's more people broken and have lost their American qualities and become communists without realizing it. Socialists and communists are not, and are as what they are. And sooner or later, if we don't stop the march that's taking place, where they use their cruelty and lies and cheating and wickedness, as with the media. The media is put in place to create that problem we have today over the last 60 years, and I was a victim of it. But there's more of them than there is of us, and they have a leader, and you can't see that leader. You see,
is that George Soros, do you think?
Or whoever that is, it doesn't matter. It's there. What we need to do, they're going to come to us one of these days. They're going to come to us with great force, and the American people must learn not to react to it, not to overreact to it, because they become one of them. When you react to somebody, you become one of them, and then you do unto others what was done to you. There's a scripture that says, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you," but that's not the same thing as doing unto others what was done to you. One of them is curative. One of them will make our country once whole, and the other one will destroy it. So I'm begging I'm begging those who love America to find virtue, because if you have pure virtue, what happens? I have pure virtue. It means I have the power to cure almost anything. And that's what I'm doing on the radio program. And I have videos and audios ready. And so my last words when I said I'm only going to be here for a while, I'm announcing that I'm giving everything I've ever learned to the whole world. And I'm actually working together now with a very famous expert on Facebook to bring what I have learned to the entire world, offering them that they can get anything they need. If they have cancer, all they have to do is go to my website and look for cancer, and there's the answer. There's an answer to it. It's easy. Every sickness and disease is caused by one thing, being disconnected from God. And a little meditation, it will teach them how to show them, not teach, there's a better word, to show them what be still and know means. It means that for a moment, the soul that's captured by the monkey mind, if you don't mind me using the word, the soul, which is connected by emotional reaction as childhood and the pressures of life that I haven't been able to overcome, has overcome them. And they don't realize the forces that are working in them that's making them ill and taking sides and fighting and struggling with themselves until they get sick and need medicine that doesn't help and psychiatry that doesn't know what the hell it's doing. I have found the Christian way that Jesus Christ had. All he needed to do is to present himself, but he was an extraordinary man which had the redemption or the redemption quality, which is authority to every sickness and disease. And all that Jesus had to do is present himself and speak with authority, but not like an ordinary man who's born of woman and goes back to woman to seeking for love, to love the hell in them when they should be loving the hell out of them. That's what men, when they're born of woman. And how else would you be born of woman? You can see when paradise was lost, Adam lost his power and gave it to Eve, and Eve is still waiting for a man to love the hell out of him. And when that happens, when a man finds redemption, then his wife will love him. But every man that gets married, every man that has relationships with a woman is loving the hell in them, and you see what I mean? Loving the hell in them rather than loving the hell.
Yeah. Oh, I first time I've heard that. I think it's brilliant.
And so I want Americans, what's left of America, to become flawless, perfect human beings, all tied together with God. Jewish people, Christians, Muslims, we all need one God, and he loves us. And I want to say something about God. You cannot love God. Now, does that sound strange? To say that you love God.
It does, because a lot of people say they do, and a lot of people say you should.
Yeah, but all wrong. It's all a lie, just like emotions.
Not sure I understand, Roy. Please explain.
I will. When you say, I love God, normally when we love each other, we expect someone to love back. God does not want to, how can I say it? If you say, I love God, you're insulting him. You're insulting him because he doesn't need your love. In other words, the person needs God to love him, and God does not want anything back. The human being loves and wants to be loved, but God does not want anything back except for him to come through you and purify you, and so that the quality he puts into you is completely resistible to all the cruelty of the world. And the more you try to hurt a person who's been redeemed, the stronger he becomes. And then I'll repeat the biblical words I said a few moments ago. Everything happened. Every bad happens for good for those that love the Lord. Now, the word love, we have to be very careful because human beings are fallible when they translate. I want everybody to understand God wants to give you, but you don't want to say thank you, or you don't want to. You just find yourself, my God, I'm free. I'm not angry anymore. My sickness is disappearing, and you appreciate it. And all He wants is to extend your appreciation of Him in you. And so when you encounter trials and tribulations, you do not react. You just become more noble. And the nobleness overcomes the illness in the person that's trying to hurt you. And so on. Therefore, do unto others as what was done, that God done to you, so to speak. That's about as quickly as I could say it.
I think it was well said.
Thank you.
Now, last hour, I shared with the audience that we had a discussion on the telephone, during which you thought it would be good and asked me if I could help arrange for you to speak before some young people, ideally, at the University of California, University of California at Santa Cruz.
Yes.
And it was not political. I mean, something that you this last discussion that you did now was a little political because you mentioned some names, and spoke
but may I stop you
of
there
our previous president.
May I stop you there for a minute?
Sure.
If the good Americans who are not good enough, because everybody's got thinking that if they read the Bible they're Christians and if they read the Bible they're Jewish, it doesn't mean that at all. God is God for everyone, and there's no need to study. There's no need to study and learn the Bible. All you need is a relationship with Him, and your intuitiveness becomes magic forever.
I believe that. I believe that, and I believe that I am that way.
God bless you.
Difficult for me to read, and I feel ashamed that I haven't read the Bible or much of it, and I feel like I should. But I also am very happy you just said what you said, because that's the way I am.
I like the Bible, but I'll not study it and pretend to read it and show how good I am with memory, and get an applause for being a good Christian or a Jew or whatever. When I read the Bible, when it comes to the word, like for example, be still and know I am God. Now that particular one got me, and several years ago I got the reason for it, but I haven't got the time to tell you now. I mentioned a little bit about being disconnected, the soul, the spirit, the corrupted spirit. This is disconnected by the presence of your Creator, and so that the soul, this is corrupt, is subject to God. And when your soul is subject to God, it overcomes the words. It enables you to see the meaning of the pure meaning of verse and chapter of the Scriptures. And so I discovered that, and I haven't got the time, I'm sure, to share with everybody. But they can go to my website. I've got a very interesting website with exorcism, and you must take a look at that.
I did. When I got off the phone with you, even before I took my nice warm shower, I looked at your Facebook page, and it blew me away. Now, I have seen you perform exorcists on people. I've seen it live at the Tall Timber Ranch about 10 years ago.
Yes.
And it was very, very, it made me gulp. I mean, it was very disturbing, to say the least. And I think it's good that we pre-warn anybody who's going to take a look at the Roy Masters Facebook page, which you use. Many people are using
children.
No children, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but
you
you need full disclosure here. What you are going to see is going to be probably among the most disturbing things you've ever seen.
But it's not disturbing because nearly everybody in America, in the world, has in them what you see me taking them out of. There's one person which is very disturbing, and this is 40 years ago. And you will see the reaction, the craziness that comes out of that person. I want to kill you. Is the person that you see is my best friend and a member of the board of the Foundation of Human Understanding.
He became your best friend after the exorcism, yes?
Well, no, it took the 40 years. It took the 40 years to begin seeing all the terrible things that happened to him, and he got better and better and better all by himself. In other words, it took the cross. Now, I want to tell you about the cross. I have not found anybody who uses the two sticks together to do what you see on my Facebook. It's the person that holds the stick, holds the cross, that makes it happen. And guess what? I'm Jewish.
Yeah. I know. But Christianity is your favorite religion, though. Am I right?
It is, because I see the beauty of it.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Yeah, you're one of a kind, Roy. And don't leave us for a long time. I'm telling you.
I won't. I'll do my best.
All right. So let's talk about positivity, okay? Because so much of what you've learned in your life and shared with the world, with your books and your videos and now your Facebook stuff, you can't get it anywhere else.
No.
But how do you? Geez, I wish you would have. I should have called you or and had you listen on hold for the whole last hour, because the whole topic there was to the whole notion of resisting negativity and just be a positive, try to be a positive person.
But you cannot be positive. It's impossible. Now listen carefully. You cannot save yourself. You cannot solve any problem that has been handed to you by the way you've reacted to stress. Every time you reacted to stress, you get worse. And every time you try to fix what comes about, like, illnesses and diseases, and so you're becoming an animal in conflict with your human, because emotions are for animals, and love, basically, that which I described a few moments ago, which does not have human beings who are really spiritual, do not have what ordinary people have that they think is makes them human, but it doesn't. It makes them inhuman. It's called emotion. Emotion is a lie. It does not make you human. It does just the opposite. And that's a well-kept secret.
Whoa. Do you remember when I visited you in 2005 and you pulled a magazine that you had highlighted a sentence in and showed it to me? And it said, stress must be viewed as a disease-causing entity.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Boy, I never forgot it. It hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just so right on. Stress.
Well, I have to start talking about
disease-causing entity. What?
Yes, I forgot to say that, but I leave these ideas behind and go on to other ideas. So eventually, I've covered the waterfront, so to speak. I have now discovered the simplicity and the danger. The biggest lie on the face of the earth is that emotions make people human. Emotions are for animals, but something mysterious which neutralizes emotions is God. And so he can flow through you, but nobody can otherwise. And
that's what happened to me this week several times.
That's it. You did right.
I was swelling with resentment and anger over some things that had happened that were it was irritating, very, very irritating. But when I looked at it, when I stepped back and realized it's not so terrible, just go with the flow. It's not the end of the world. Just let things happen and don't succumb to the demons that want me to overreact and eat myself alive.
Yes, but nearly every person on earth has a demon. They have another self, and which is crept into them. I'll give you a simple way of saying it. You cannot, when you come into the world, you cannot say that a child is guilty, correct? It hasn't sinned. But they come into the world with intuition. God gives every child a intuition. But the trouble is the result of generations. The parent of the child is standing in the shoes of their parents, etc., etc., all the way from the beginning of Adam. Excuse me. So there's a beautiful thing about this, what's going on. So the children that are born to Adamic father and what is the other one? Forgive me.
What are you talking about? The woman?
An Eve. A man is Adamic, means he has no God. He's subject to the woman and looks to the woman for a sense of worth, loves. It's the pleasures of sex, and that's addictive. And he draws the worst out of her. And every woman is looking for a man that loves the hell out of her, and is a man. But that kind of man must be redeemed in order to redeem her, and to be noble and gracious to his wife, and not use her as a whore, which most men use, I'm sorry to say. And so it's necessary for what's left of America to find perfect virtue. And unless you find perfect virtue, perfect, meaning nobody can ever touch you. Anybody who tries to upset you is disturbed by not being able to, and he tries harder. And the more harder he tries, the more calm you get. In other words, the stress and pressure makes you stronger in not reacting.
And the other person becomes like a dog with a burr in his ear, running around madly shaking his head.
You got it.
To try to get the burr out of his ear, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Hey, we haven't invited phone calls, and I don't know why someone named John in Pasadena has called 479-1080. But Jason put it up on the screen here if we want to take it. Do we want to take it? John in Pasadena says emotion is a lie.
That's correct.
Well, why don't we take it? You want to take it? Let's take the call. Okay?
Yes, of course. Of course. That'd be nice.
John in Pasadena, welcome to the Saturday Special with Roy Masters and poor old MZ.
Well, hello, Roy Masters and poor old MZ.
Hey.
I wasn't calling to say that emotion is a lie, but I'm hearing Roy, I'm hearing you say that.
Speak louder, please, John, if you can.
Well, he's not saying anything I can understand.
Oh.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
It's not. I
hear
can
you
hear.
a little.
I can hear him, but he's not saying anything which makes sense.
Well, Roy, I heard you say that emotion is a lie, right?
Yes. Yes.
And how do you square that with the scripture saying that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son? It says that Jesus destroyed the one that had the power of sin and death. And that was done by love.
That does not address what the subject of emotion is. I said emotion is the biggest lie that makes you human. It dehumanizes you every time. Listen, you want to get angry with me? You watch what happens. Listen very carefully, and you've got to be very careful what I'm about to say. If you think emotions is normal, go ahead and get angry with me, and you know what will happen? I will hypnotize you, and that's what the devil does. That's what the wickedness in other people. They use you. They intimidate you to enter into you and control you. Go look at my website and see me do this. The first thing you see is me hypnotizing a person and explaining it all. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, young man.
I have no need whatsoever to be angry with you, but
I'm not. I'm being strong. I'm not being wrong. I don't have any emotion in my. I don't have to have emotion to speak loud to you or soft to you.
The scripture says that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and the scripture says that the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. This is in Proverbs 8. It defines the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom.
It doesn't say hate. It does not say hate.
It does. It says the fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That's what it says.
In Proverbs 8, it says that the fear of the Lord is to hate.
Do me a favor. Go read your Bible. Every Bible has.
Okay, John. Before you go, here. Let me ask you a question. Are you physically in Pasadena now? And how is it you're listening to the Saturday special?
Internet, KSCO.com.
No, but I mean, so you do live in Southern California, and how did you discover us? Obviously, you're listening on the internet if you're that far away, but
right. I'm in Pasadena, and I have friends and relatives that live in your area, and I've been listening to Joel Wallach for a long time, and you're my conduit to Joel Wallach.
I see. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. I like to ask because more and more we're getting callers from people who are way outside our coverage area. So they got to be listening on the internet, and I'm curious how you found out. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was John in Pasadena, and Roy, we have about 6 minutes left here, so we won't take any more phone calls. I mean, but let's see. So what can we do? What can any of us do, whether we have PTSD officially diagnosed or not, to escape our disease and have a better life?
Well, to realize that there's something wrong. Most people will not realize there's something wrong and try to fix it themselves, or go to psychiatrists and psychologists. There is a need for medicine, only to help you to live longer, to find out what's wrong with you. But if you are the average person, you are dependent on medicine and new medicine and newer medicine to keep you alive. But the trouble with that is you have all this medicine, and you live by medicine. You do not know what life is all about. It's just being alive. See, and then you die. The purpose of life is to find the purpose of life within you. And so you give your soul to your Creator, and He lives through you. Another, he loves you and doesn't want you to thank him or anything like that. All it is you wake up one morning and all your problems are gone, and you realize there's something there but you can't help it, because if you react to somebody who is cruel, and in that reaction you have become the extension of that reaction and become subject to the bully that bullies you or seduces you. But when you meditate with what I will tell you, let me tell it to you, is you go to my website and take antidoteforall.com for free. Antidote for All on the web everywhere, but it is, if I can remember it, it is I can't remember it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
you need to go on the web.
I think the website you're talking about is facebook.com.
No, not Facebook.
No,
is the Foundation of Human Understanding.
FHU.
And there is something you can. My memory is not as good as it used to be, because there's two names for what I'm talking about, and you go on it, and it will give you a meditation to overcome everything.
The observation exercise.
That's right. It's 7 minutes. There's no religious words in it, and it will disconnect you from your monkey brain and deliver you to the Creator.
Now, what's the monkey brain? You've turned that. You've used that term.
The monkey brain is an animal. An animal has emotion and subject to stress, and it runs and fights. And when it's finished, it doesn't remember anymore. It just gets stronger. And the lion gets more powerful, and the impala in Africa runs faster and reproduces faster running. And so, but human beings do not respond to stress. You cannot respond to stress without losing your identity as a person with God or with anything. It's not possible. The minute you start to react to the world, you become subject to the world and shaped by the world, and ugliness and disease, depending upon how you overcome your anxiety, which represents how far you are away from God.
I think those are phenomenal words of wisdom. And
can I say something? Can I say one more thing? I'm 79, and if you are
89.
Yes, you understand that I'm not strong as I used to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you forgive me for that. At 89 years old, if you try to hurt me, you can't touch me. Try it. Just try coming near me to
no, thank you.
Me.
No, thank you.
I mean,
I don't want to do that.
I want somebody to come. I advertise. I give my address. You want to?
No, Roy, come on, don't do that. Listen,
no, I'm just saying it. I'm just
some crazy nut might do that. So listen, we're coming to the end of the program anyhow. I want to thank you. You do the advice line every night, every weeknight from what time is it? From 6 to 8, is it?
6 to 8, yes.
Pacific time.
Yes.
And we carry it on KOMY, but I think we carry it a little after that and delayed. But we'll talk about carrying that live. So you're available for anybody to talk to you and give
anybody
great advice. Okay. Hey, thank you. The best to you and Ann. And thank you for being with us today on the Saturday special. That's it, gang. See you next week. Okay, we can play the That's All.
Thank you.
Here. Thanks.
That's all, folks.
KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. It's 12 noon. Here's CBS News.
CBS News, I'm Bill Rakoff. President Trump is spending the weekend at his golf resort in Bedminster, New Jersey. CBS's Errol Barnett, reporting from a nearby community, says the White House has been clear it's not going to rush the Senate to complete work on its own version of health care reform.
This team of 13 senators who will slowly and deliberatively undo some of the most unpopular aspects of the House bill as they try and get their version through, not with Democratic support, but without it, through a process called reconciliation, essentially ensures that this will continue to be a slow-moving process.
Former Acting Attorney General Sally Yates is ready to testify